Okay.
And if you don't want your image recorded or your voice recorded, please leave the meeting. Go ahead, Alex, with the roll call.
All right, this is the roll call for the ANC 6E meeting, and it's June 1st, 2021. ANC 6E01.
Present.
6E02, present. 6E03.
Present.
6E04.
Here.
6E05.
Present.
6E06.
She's busy.
6E07.
Present.
Chair, we have 6 of 7 commissioners. We have a quorum.
Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you, Alex. Let me show the agenda. So here, 1 second. There. Okay, so the only thing, the Office of Campaign Finance will not be joining us today, so they will be coming in July. And can I move this up? So we took away the agenda item for the ABRA for Patrick's area, and let's see, I think those are the only 2 changes. Do I have a motion? Can anyone, you all can unmute yourself.
I'll motion to adopt the agenda.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Michael seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Aye, me, aye. Okay, let's begin with 1D. Do I see Captain Duro on the other side? There he is. Oh, let me, Ed, do you want to go ahead and move him over? Jonathan Duro.
I will.
Okay.
Just while we're waiting, is there a waiting room for this meeting? Or should
Everyone's
people
let
just-
in. Everyone's in. The attendee side's open now. I got him, Ed. Here he goes. Okay, Captain Duro, you're going to go ahead and mute yourself.
Hello.
Hi. So everyone, this
Okay.
is Captain Duro. This is for 1D. This is for the area that is south of New York Avenue.
Correct. Hello, everyone. So looking at the last 30 days, we have had, let me see, sorry. Had to pull up these numbers. Doesn't look right. 4 violent crimes. So 4 violent crimes versus 3 over the same period last year, which is about the same. What we've had is most of these have been out on the street involving people that know each other. So domestic incidents. We had just in the last few days, we had one where 2 folks that are kind of out on the street on a regular basis, one threw gasoline on the other and attempted to light her on fire. So pretty horrible incident. Luckily, she was not injured. It was just an attempt, but that was one of our violent crimes. So that's kind of the thing we've been seeing out on the street. As far as property crime, we are up a bit, 34 over 16 last year, so about double. And that reflects what I'm seeing throughout the entire downtown area and a lot of the kind of commercial areas where last year we were shut down during this period, and right now we're opening back up. And this petty theft, so the theft from like stores, so the CVS, the grocery store, and then theft from autos are like double up to 4 times. We're seeing those numbers compared to last year. So that's something we're keeping an eye on, but what we're really focused on as the district and in the city as a whole is the violent crime, and especially preventing shootings. And luckily we haven't seen too much of that kind of behavior in your immediate area. We did have a homicide at the shelter 425 2nd Street, which is pretty close to you guys. And that crowd is kind of related to a lot of the activity that's in your ANC as well. So as we go into the summer, it's really violent crime is our primary concern. For your area in particular, we've done a lot of work on our narcotics activity, especially right across the line in the ANC 2C area. I know we've discussed the shelter on 5th Street and all the activity there. We're continuing to work on that, continue to address those concerns with the narcotics activity. Then there's just a lot of kind of disorder, quality of life stuff. hopefully you saw the news that starting today, actually, the city started dispatching the community response team through the Department of Mental Health directly through 911 calls. So, hopefully that'll be a positive development, and it'll take some of the load off of us in dealing with those incidents. And hopefully my hope would be to lead to kind of some systemic changes out on the street, right? And I think that's really what we need is for us to be, as a city, to be active on the streets with those social services. So that just started today. I think that's about it for me. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, commissioners, any questions for Captain Duro?
I just have some feedback, Captain. I just wanted to note that I was down in I was actually down in Patrick's area the other day and noted a police officer who was enforcing the parking in the bike lane. And I just wanted to acknowledge that he was doing a very good job of protecting our vulnerable roadway users. So if you could just pass that along. Do you want his name or his badge number? Is that a formal?
Yeah, that'd be great. Can you email it to me?
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah, that'd be
Sounds
great.
good.
Yeah, that is something that we tell them to focus on, especially in those areas. It's kind of a dual enforcement because that goes hand in hand with preventing the stolen autos, which we are still seeing, especially in the Mount Vernon Triangle, where I think we just had one yesterday where delivery drivers are leaving their cars running as they pick up or deliver food. And still something we're seeing citywide, and those numbers have actually crept up again in the last month. They're still not as high as they were for us in your area at the height of it last year, but still something we're seeing. Unfortunately, people cannot turn their cars off for some reason. It's really baffling to me, but we've been at it for over a year now trying to get the word out, and it's still, people have gotten their car stolen more than once, so they've left their cars running, gotten stolen, and then a couple months later, exact same thing, they do the same thing again. So I'm a little bit is like, what else can you do? But we've made some good arrests, and I think it's kind of spinning up again. So we're spinning up our efforts again to combat it. But thank you for that feedback. And yeah, send me his name, please.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Patrick or Kevin?
No.
Okay. All right, let's go open it to the community. If you would like to talk to Captain Duro, who is with 1D, this is the area below New York Avenue, use a little raise your hand feature, and we'll move you over to the panelist side, or press *9 if you're on the phone. This is to talk to Captain Duro. Anyone want to talk to Captain Duro from 1D? Going once. Going twice, going 3 times. Okay. That was easy, Captain. We'll see you next month then. Thank you. All right, next we have Lieutenant Daye. Go ahead and move him over. He's with 3D. This is the area that is above New York Avenue. Okay, Lieutenant, you can go ahead and mute yourself.
Hey,
Hi.
can you guys see me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome,
Oh.
thanks. Is this new, I guess you're doing instead of just joining in? Okay, fair enough. Just want to do a quick update on, so we had some unlawful discharge incidents that occurred off North Capitol Street. I think there was 3 this past month. We did make arrests on one of them, and we've made, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Someone came into the office. So we had a weapon recovery this morning over at 20 in front of House of Lebanon, and no arrest with that. Apparently, House of Lebanon employee found the weapon on the ground, and we recovered it. But we did have another weapon recovery in the area that was closed with an arrest, and we had a robbery, just to give you a rundown, at 802 Rhode Island Avenue. This was on the 27th. That case is closed with an arrest of, I can't like I said, I can't give out the information, but if you call the PI Public Information Office, they might be able to give you more information. But that robbery was close to an arrest. And then we had an ADW gun, a shooting at 1201 7th Street Northwest, and that was on the 16th. That case is still open. Detectives are still investigating that. Just to give you guys a heads up, we are working on several activities. Myself and a core group of constituents with I think Bradley Thomas are going to be meeting. We're trying to meet up tomorrow, have a Zoom about that, and discuss community events. So that's what's going on for 3D. We've been lucky. I'm not going to say it, but lucky so far with regards to all our shootings and unlawful discharges have been the shooting was non-life-threatening injuries, and the unlawful discharges, of course, you don't have anybody injured from those.
Well, the shooting on 10th Street, that was not too good.
No, that was not too good. On 10th Street, I believe
That was
they
kind
were
of bad.
That was bad, yes. So if that's your area, at 10th and P Street, yes, I'm aware of that one. Let me see if I have to check with Public Information Office, see what we can put out, but I think we had the person arrested.
Correct. You
Involved.
did. Yeah, that's Commissioner Eichler's area. So
Yeah.
commissioners, do you have any questions for Lieutenant Daye?
I'll take that segue. Since the shooting and even before, my constituents have been expressing some concerns with just feeling safer and secure in the neighborhood, and then this kind of random shooting over an altercation of someone riding a rental scooter on the sidewalk really has the community shook, and there is a lot of talk about getting officers on the street, getting officers visible on bike or foot, walking around, just and this is something that I know has been a priority for my predecessor as well. I'm just wondering, like, what might it take, or how might we get more visible police presence in our community to try to dissuade some of the illegal activity and some of the crimes that we are seeing, whether that can often result in an incident like this, as well as other smaller crimes. There's reports of drug activity picking back up in certain corners of the neighborhood, et cetera. Like my constituents are really interested in getting police on their feet or on bikes in the neighborhood on a regular basis. What might we do to ask for that, to get that? What are some successful strategies? And just to note, we're not looking for increased arrests. We're looking for decreased arrests due to prevention. There's plenty of literature out there that says that police presence actually does deter crime, and I'd just be interested in hearing what you have to say about that.
So your area, 10th and P, I know that was a very random kind of shooting, because that area doesn't really see that kind of foot traffic or even that kind of violence at all, usually throughout the year. Because 10th and P, I've known that area very well. I used to be an officer in that who served PSA 307 for 10 years. So I know the area very, very well. I know there's a lot of car break-ins over there, but in terms of shootings, that kind of activity, drug activity is not really pertinent. But I will for you, you're in sector 3 of the 3rd district. That is under Captain Riley Hong, as well as Lieutenant Miller and Lieutenant Romeo. I'll shoot them a message. I'll see if I'll try to CC you as well as Commissioner Nigro in reference to that, and just let them know that you would like to see increased mounted bike officers in PSA 307, as well as any foot officers. I, of course, service sector 2, which includes 308, 305, and 306. But of course, I'm part of the whole district, and I will definitely relay your concerns. Captain Small did want to attend the meeting. Unfortunately, he got caught up on another issue, so he's handling that right now.
Sure, and I'll just note there's been reports of drug activity at 8th and Q, and then recently the senior housing development of the Hodge at 7th and P was, I believe it was vandalized multiple times over the span of the last month, and we have a meeting set up, I believe, tomorrow to meet with some of the officers to just talk about presence. But if I can address it with you here in a more public forum, I'm happy to do that as well.
Certainly. Yeah, presence, definitely gonna relay that to the sector managers about that and let them know your concerns and your requests for that. Definitely, I'll handle that right after the meeting.
So Lieutenant, you can relay to Commander Kim. I have asked for a very long time for BCOP for 6E04, and I will continually ask for a BCOP. And now that Commander Kim is back, I'm sure he'll be very familiar with that request. So please tell him I've asked again. So, because it's all about visibility and getting out of the car, et cetera. Okay, so any other questions from the commissioners? Frank, Alex Lopez? No, Frank? Okay.
At the present time.
Okay, let's open up to the community. This is for Lieutenant Day. It is for 3D. This is the area that is above New York Avenue. So I see this little telephone number first. I'm gonna unmute you, telephone number. Go ahead, telephone number. You can unmute yourself. Telephone number, hi.
Yes, Commissioner, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. You have a question for Lieutenant Day?
Ma'am, this is your favorite commander, Kim.
Oh! You're sneaky.
Yes, I wanted to stop by. Thank you, Lieutenant Day, for going through the stats and the questions. I just wanted to ensure that I've met with everyone here. I know I've worked with several of you in the past. I see Commissioner Wiggins on here as well. And I just wanted to say I'm really happy to be back to 3D. And I know we worked together well in the past, and I look forward to it. I wanted to answer that question about the beat officers and the bike officers. Obviously, it's a really good thing to have officers on foot and bikes, and I really actually appreciate that and would love to have more of that. But one of the things that I have to consider when we do that is it's just sheer logistics. The officers then go to covering a smaller area. So we kind of have to balance being able to move to areas quickly to answer 911 calls and that sort of thing. But that is something definitely as the summer comes around that we're looking at in trying to put more officers on bikes and foot. So I will take a look at that.
Great, and welcome back to the area.
Thank you, appreciate it.
It's great to have you. So I see Alex Padro. Let me unmute you here or move you over. Go ahead, Alex. Alex, you can unmute yourself.
Am I unmuted?
You are.
Great, thank you. Yes, to the lieutenant, on behalf of a number of the businesses on the 500 and the 600 blocks of Florida Avenue and the 600 block of T Street, I'd like to share the ongoing concern about a band of LaJoy Park youth that are causing disruptions in the outdoor seating at these businesses. So these include Shaw's Tavern, as well as Rita Loco, El Techo. These incidents have included throwing rocks at customers, disturbing customers' water glasses, threatening customers, going through windows into the establishments, etc. And this has been going on for several months. This is quite concerning. And I know that some of the business owners now are going to the extent of getting private security involved. And there is a growing concern that this is not going to end well. So I want to make sure, number one, that you're aware of it. Number two, if you are aware of it, what can MPD do to try to address this ongoing issue? Because the concern is that someone is going to get hurt.
Yeah, so I'm aware of the Shaw issue. I've been trying to work with OAG to try to get some of these juveniles that we've stopped because we've stopped several juveniles throughout the past 2 months actually, and working with them, try to get the appropriate services involved to address these juvenile behavior. I have Officer Segovin. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but she has been working very closely with the business owners. She's been keeping up to date with their concerns, and it's just a matter of being out there, being present, and addressing the youth out there. So when we do make our stops, we're doing what we're supposed to do. I know we had a gun arrest 2 days ago at a 200 Florida Avenue, and it was on a juvenile, and of course that person was arrested. Now, in reference to the private security, I'm for it. Actually, I'm for private security for you guys, and we will work closely with your private security and try to assist you with training. We can't bar people, but we can assist you with barring and training those businesses and how to bar subjects so that we can address the crimes that occur on that. So when that juvenile is barred from that block, we can come over and say, okay, well, we observed that person was barred, and we can address, get the appropriate appropriate police action on that.
So one of the concerns on the part of one of the business owners is that the most recent incident, the private security officer actually was able to apprehend one of the youth, and immediately they were surrounded by members of the public saying, hey, that's just a kid. What are you doing? You need to let him go. And so all of a sudden you have a situation where adults are, getting involved. And as I said, this is not going to end well. These youth have got to be brought under control, or you can imagine the repercussions.
Okay. Well, so I would advise those business owners with the private security, definitely call 911 when you're going to go ahead and get our officers out there to assist if you're going to make contact with the subject. So that way we have MPD presence there as well. And not just, I don't want to create a situation where the private security member is by themselves.
Okay, I'll pass that along.
Okay, thank you.
So Lieutenant, I have to get used to looking at the little questions. So we have a question from the audience.
Before we do that, can I just follow up on that real quick?
Oh, sure.
So I have a question, Lieutenant. You did mention that there was a gun recovered on the 200 block of Florida Avenue. Is there a connection, do you believe, between that gun recovery and the the disruptive behavior, bordering on criminal behavior of youth on these blocks?
I'll answer. I can't give
because-
too many particulars on that arrest. The juvenile in question was older, so I don't know how much it's in reference to just the park versus the businesses. And I know the businesses, these juveniles that come to the businesses are a little bit younger than 16. They're more like in the 12-year-old to 13-year-old range.
Right. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that folks on this call understand that, at least from what I've heard and observed, that this is not like, there is a harassment and there is violent behavior on behalf of these younger juveniles, but it's not gun related. So I just want to make crystal clear that these are separate.
I'm mentioning that because we are out there. We are making stops of juvenile youth on that block, and my officers are out there. That was done by my mountain bike officers on the 200 block of Florida. So they are in the area. Officer Gobin is in the area as well, trying to work with the businesses. And it's just a matter of clearing out these juveniles, getting them identified, and working with Officers Attorney OAG with getting the appropriate action.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So we have a question here from the little chat, or the question answers. It's from Keith Arnold. There are often people hanging out in front of the liquor store on 9th and P Street, harassing people who walk by. My wife almost got hit by a water bottle on Sunday. Could the police car that parks in the parking lot of Shiloh Church instead sit across the street on that corner?
Absolutely. I will have my sergeants go check on that if that's happening right now. they're not supposed to be, they shouldn't just be parked at the Shiloh Baptist Church. They should be actively patrolling their areas and handling anything they see.
Okay.
Lieutenant, question, Rochelle.
Yes, go ahead.
Lieutenant,
Yes, sir.
we're having a growing element on the 1100 block of 7th. The Subway shop owner saying he has clientele who won't come into a store later in the evening because about 8:30, there's a growing population of people who are urinating, defecating on the property where this business is located. Can we have some additional support on that block?
11 block of 7th. What time is this happening?
1100, well, it's like 8 or 8:30 is when this element is growing.
At night?
At night, Subway is having problems because some of his regular clients refuse to come into the establishment because of this element that's growing.
Yeah, I will definitely relay that to the evening officers and midnight officers so that they can check on that for me.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay, any other questions from the community? Use the raise your hand feature or press *9. This is for Lieutenant Daae. And we also have Commander Kim still on. This is for 3D above New York Avenue. Going once, going twice. Okay. All right. Thank you, Lieutenant. Thank you, Commander Kim. We'll be talking to you, I'm sure, soon.
All right. Have a good night.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, so next we have, is Talib, are you here? And can you move Denise back over? Talib, if you're here with us from the mayor's office, you press *9 or use the raise your hand feature.
He's not here, by the way.
Huh? I don't think he's here. Okay, hopefully he'll show up later. All right, so if Naomi Mitchell, are you with us from Charles Allen's office? Press *9 or use the raise your hand feature. Naomi Mitchell or someone from Charles Allen's office? Naomi? Oh, there you are, hooray. You can go ahead and unmute yourself. Naomi?
Unmuted.
Hi.
Are we on now?
You are.
Very good. I don't have a lot to announce, but a lot of the big stuff you've probably already heard something about. The mayor dropped her budget May 27th. It's totaling $17.5 billion for FY 2022. It's a $663 million new money increase. It will focus on significant increases in public education and affordable housing. It comes to the council Wednesday, June 2nd at noon. And from there, and that will be on Channel 13 or on the council website. It'll be a public hearing if anyone wants to watch how they respond to it. There will be subsequent committee budget hearings that will also be publicized on each of the agencies. And so that schedule will be announced shortly. The other big thing is the comp plan. That was approved by the council in May, and now it's gone to the National Planning Commission. Its priority is public affordable housing and housing that has a kind of racial equity aspect to it, and reviewing development proposals. There are long-term patterns of housing that have had redlining or other kinds of issues that have limited where affordable housing is allowed. And so this will require that when the zoning commission and other land use agencies are reviewing it, that they review it in that context. Let's see, I had a couple of other notes. Let's see if I see them here. For any of you interested, the director.
I think we lost her. Maybe she'll zoom back in. Okay. Did she? No, she'll call back in, I hope. Okay. Okay, so when she calls back in, we'll hook her back up, but let's move on to Alex. Why don't you go to electric Kool-Aid?
Okay. So I think that the applicant, Ben Schwartz, is on the call. I don't know if we need to elevate him to panelist.
Up to you. He raised his hand.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead? But while
There you go,
we're
Ben.
doing that, I'll go ahead and introduce the item. So back in April, I think, the ANC considered or voted to support a substantial change to electric Kool-Aid's liquor license, which would allow a change of hours as well as an entertainment endorsement. And ABRA, or the Alcohol Control Board, had a hearing where they wanted to know if ANC wanted to enter into a settlement agreement, specifically around the entertainment endorsement. And reflecting on that hearing and the advice of the board, I worked with the ownership of Electric Kool-Aid on a settlement agreement that I believe will contribute towards a successful establishment neighborhood relationship with regard to the entertainment endorsement. So just really briefly, the terms of the settlement agreement are that the applicant, Electric Kool-Aid, will comply with all relevant noise ordinances. Specific to the entertainment endorsement, the agreement stipulates that there shall be no amplified entertainment after 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday, all days of week. That there shall be no live music performed as part of the entertainment endorsement, and that except for all live music, other types of entertainment authorized by the endorsement shall be allowed. And so those are the restrictions on the entertainment endorsement. There's nothing in the settlement regarding the hours, because that's not something that, that's something that this commission has already talked about. Now I'll let Ben Schwartz and Angela Del Bracco, who are the co-owners, if you want to say anything about the agreement, or if you're good, we could just go ahead and.
Alex, I think you did a great job summarizing. So nothing on our end to supplement your summary.
Okay, great. Well, with that, I will go ahead and make the motion to adopt the settlement agreement, which I previously circulated with the commissioners. Can I get a second?
Any questions on the motion?
Second.
Patrick seconds. Oh, we should ask this, Alex, I'm sorry, we need to ask the community if there's any questions. Just real quick. Any questions about this from the community? Press *9 or use the raise your hand feature. It's about a settlement agreement for Electric Kool-Aid. Once, twice, 3 times. Okay. All right, go ahead, Alex. And Patrick second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Frank says aye. Denise, we need you unmuted. Denise,
Yes.
are you an aye?
Oh, you can't see me. I'm sorry. I'm raising my hand.
Well, aye from Denise. Okay, great. Motion passes. Thank you. Thanks,
you.
guys. Thanks for zooming in.
Thank you all so much.
Okay, bye. I'll visit soon. All right, next is the settlement agreement in my area that we talked about, and then I forgot to do the motion. So it is for 1027 7th Street, Petite Cerise. This is their settlement agreement. I actually have it to show because the hours were a big deal. So the hours now line up with Rumi's Kitchen for their sidewalk cafe, Sunday through Thursday till 10 p.m., Friday and Saturday to 11 p.m. And then Alex had mentioned about the part now is no longer there about the protesting or no protest of the sidewalk cafe. All right, so that is that. Any questions from the commissioners? No? Okay. Any questions from the community? This is the settlement agreement for Petite Cerise. Press *9 or use the raise your hand feature. Going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay. I move that ANC 6E support the settlement agreement for 1027 7th Street Northwest, Petite Cerise. Any questions on the motions?
I'll second.
Okay, Alex seconds. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay, great. Motion passed. Thank you. And I see Naomi back. Go ahead and mute yourself, Naomi.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Neglected to ensure the battery had enough to stay on it. At any rate, forgive me, you all. One of these days I'm going to be a techie. In the meantime, I think I pretty much finished with saying that there's some big projects out there. We don't know what's going to happen with public housing, but the city is paying close attention to it. Let's see, is there anyone else who wants to know anything about that I might know something about?
Commissioners, any questions for Naomi?
I just would want to thank you for your work to get on-site vaccinations at the Phyllis Wheatley YWCA. I know there was a little hiccup in getting that scheduled, but it seems like it's back on the books. And I know that there was residents, there's, I believe, 65 who are more or less shut in, and they can't leave the premises to get the vaccination. So the house call is definitely appreciated. Thank you for organizing.
Thank you much. We're also reaching to Ashbury Dwellings and the Hodge and the one Foster House right around the corner. So it's not as many out there that needs them at this point. So we need to be careful in not having, you know, the health people come and just a few people show up. So it's taking a little work. And since all of those buildings are shut down, they will not let you go in and knock on doors. You know, no one can come in. So we really don't know how many are in there that might need it. So we'll be continuing to try to find that out and set up some kind of arrangement.
Sure, and just real quick, but like, please note that when I believe Howard was doing walk-ups, vaccinations at Bread for the City, it was 35 a day. It was 35 people a day they were doing, and we've got probably 60, 65 alone at the YWCA at Phyllis Wheatley. So it could be just focus on them and get them done versus trying to line up a bunch of other people.
Phyllis Wheatley is in play.
Okay, great.
We've connected them directly with Howard.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
Denise?
Hi, Naomi.
Hi.
How are you? I wanted to let you know I was late getting on just now because we had a fire in the Sibley high rise.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so it looked like a couple of the seniors may be burnt out. We understand that we heard a big boom from some fireworks and then someone's balcony caught fire, and
Is that in the senior building?
that's the senior high rise, yes.
Okay.
Just to put it on the record to let you know.
Well, we'll reach out tomorrow. We'll reach out tomorrow, see if there's anything we can do to help.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for letting us know.
You're welcome.
Commissioners, any other questions for Naomi before I open it up to the community?
One question, Naomi, I know that Councilmember Allen plans to host a Ward 6 budget town hall. Do you have any details on when that might be happening?
It's not set at this moment because the budget hasn't been submitted yet. And then he'll need to review it. And in addition to the broad stuff, but he usually tries to do it just a few weeks after it's released, and it's not going to go to the council till, I guess, sometime this week, the day after tomorrow, I think it drops.
Right.
June. I'll let you know though. I'll send the text out as soon as we know.
Thanks. We're looking forward to it. And then one item in the budget that I wanted to make sure the council member was aware of is that there is a an item in the capital improvement plan to close the Northwest One Library and move it out of our ANC to the Eckington Edgewood area.
That's been talked about for a while now. Do you know if that's still current?
It's in the mayor's budget proposal for funded in FY, I think FY 25 and FY 26 in the SIP.
Well, it can change between then and now. I'll
Absolutely.
check on that for you. I'll check
Yeah,
on
but
that. See
we
what
want to
talk
continue
comes
to
from.
work with the council member and the mayor to identify locations to keep that library in Ward 6 serving our community.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, this is for the community. If you have questions for Naomi Mitchell from Charles Allen's office, use the raise your hand feature or press *9. She does community relations for Charles Allen. Press *9 or use the raise your hand feature. Anyone have a question for Naomi Mitchell? Going once, twice, 3 times. Okay. All right, Naomi, we'll see you. So thank you. I'm glad you're able to zoom in.
I'll stay on. I'll be listening.
Okay, great. Super. Is Talib, did he come in? Raise your hand or press *9. Talib from the mayor's office, a little shout out. Are you on the call? He said he was coming. No. Okay, moving on. Okay, so next we have back into our Abra mode. Let me unmute Alex Padra. Go ahead if you guys, Ed, can you move Alex Padra over? First up is in Commissioner Eichler's area, 1618 A Street ABT Liquor. This is leftover from last month.
Yes, thank you. And can you see if Beth Kadu Ngusi is on the line? He is the owner. He's supposed to be available to answer questions.
Ngusi, oh, I see him.
BEF.
Yep.
You. Thank you. So Mr. Ngusi is the new owner of ABT Liquors. He has inherited, unfortunate set of circumstances where the previous owner was not keeping up with the terms of the settlement agreement. However, the Civic Association and I and Commissioner Eichler have all met with Mr. Ngusi, the new owner. Mr. Owner is very much solicitous of being a good neighbor and is committed to making a number of improvements. If he's on the line, he can describe those, and he's actually begun taking action on those. And I can say that the commission was pleased to hear his representations and his assurances that there won't be any further sales to minors as there had been under the previous owner. And the committee did vote to recommend to the commission that the commission support the renewal of the license. Is Mr. Ngusi on?
Yes, thank you very much for that summarization, Mr. Alex Padro. My name is Beth Kadu. I am the new owner. I understand that there was some concern from the previous owner, and I am working closely with Commissioner Michael as well as Mr. Alex Padro. I would like to say thank you as well to comply with the agreement. Regarding with the concern, to address the concern about the trash, all the trash is kept in the basement of the store until the night before it is scheduled to be picked up by my landlord's trash contractor, and it's then transferred to be picked up by my landlord contractor, as I said, and it is then transferred to the 2 trash dumpsters that are by the fence line on the Rhode Island Avenue side of the building, and there are 2 additional trash dumpsters there that are for the residents of the apartment above the store to place their trash for a collection. And I have no control over those dumpsters. When the trash is collected, the dumpsters are rolled to the curb and returned afterwards. So to address litter surrounding the store, My staff will on daily basis sweep the curbs on either side of the building and collect and remove trash that has accumulated since the previous cleanup. This will include removing trash from the 3 boxes adjacent to the store on Bowes 8th Street and Rhode Island Avenue. And furtherly, to improve the appearance of the landscaping on either side of the store, Mr. Alex Padro has referred me to the Old City Farm, a landscaping business that previously was in Shaw, to prepare the implement planting plants and maintaining them in both fenced areas. They already did the job this weekend. I can show you more than a couple of pictures what they did for me on both sides. Regarding with the signage, Mr. Alex Padro is also connecting me with Gilbert Signs, the signage contractor that installed the current signs for recommendation on modifying the signs so that they are approvable for the historic district, specifically that they will no longer be a light box. And it's very tricky. And I know I need a permit from DCRA and also I need to do the signage. So it will take some time, but I am progressing very well on that regard as well. Mr. Alex Padro is also referring me to the consultant to discuss making changes in the business model for the store, since I am new for the business, and this will take place before undertaking an interior renovation of the store. And I already discussed with the contractor today to remodel the inside part, to change the floor, the ceiling, and so on. Generally, I'm very eager to receive input from you guys and even from other community residents about what types of the change you would like to see in the product offering at my store. And this would be very helpful as we work to reposition the store to become a small go-to destination of choice of our new borrowers. And thank you very much. And if you have any question, I am here to answer.
Commissioner Eichler, do you want to say something?
Sure. I do want to thank you for all of the commitments that you've made to making sure that the store becomes an asset and a gem within the community. I live right around the corner, and so I walk by it all the time. And so clearly I'll be looking forward to meeting you and then seeing some new landscaping and some additional improvements that you have planned. So thanks for your commitment, and I'll turn it over to see if anyone else has any other comments.
Commissioners, any comments before open to the community? Okay, this is for my name right here. ABT Liquors. ABT Liquors.
If I may.
Yes.
Yep. So I move that ANC 6E support
Wait, I didn't
the
ask if
renewal
any
of the class.
wait, I didn't ask if any. Hang tight for just 30
didn't
seconds.
we?
No, I'm
Didn't we
just
just
right
do
now.
that?
Wait, hold on. So does anyone from the
Okay.
community have any questions? Use *9 or use the raise your hand feature. This is for ABT Liquors. Any questions or concerns? No? Okay, Michael.
Okay, sorry for jumping the gun there. I thought that you had just done that. Okay, so yeah, I move that ANC 6E support the renewal of the Class A liquor license for ABT Liquors located at 1618 8th Street Northwest, and we communicate that to Abra.
Any question or any questions on the motion, commissioners? Do we have a second?
Second.
Alex seconds. All in favor? Aye. Denise, you can unmute yourself. Kevin, unmute yourself.
Aye.
Aye. Frank?
One abstention.
Okay, Frank abstains. Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
I apologize, Rachel. I just received a call from Talib's office as well
Oh,
about the fire out back. So
oh, is he there?
yeah, they're trying to multitask.
Okay, so we know where he is. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Denise, for that update. Thank you. All right, next we're hopping to my area. This is 1201 5th Street, Sane Wine and Spirits. Go ahead, Alex, and I think I see, I'm not sure if it's which one it is. Let me move them over here.
So we did reach out to Mr. Salim, the owner of Sane. Unfortunately, he was not able to join us for the ABC Licensing Committee last week. So I will share the investigative history with the committee, with the commission for its consideration. They did have one case of a sale to minor in the previous 2 years. The board accepted an offer in compromise, which was to issue a warning on the first charge and dismissing the second charge. So hopefully, if Mr. Salim is on the line, he can explain what measures he's taking to prevent further sales to minors.
Someone's on the line. Not sure if it's the husband or the wife. Go ahead, I unmuted you.
Yeah, yes, good,
Okay.
good evening. How are you? How are you guys?
Good.
How's everybody doing? So, yeah, with that matters, now we actually give both employees a full training on and how to check IDs and making sure they check the surroundings. We have the cameras all around. They need to see who's coming, who's not coming, and time to time we actually do lock the doors because we have so many teenage activities around there. They'll just walk into the store and then grab something and run away. To avoid that, we do lock the doors on certain times, and then the customers in the area knows about that, and they knock the door. Then we open it. So this is for safety as well as to making sure who's coming in. So we have few people at a time when they come in. So we check everybody's ID frequently.
So the only concern I hear about is when we talked about this, the little patch of grass and the tree.
Right.
Water
Right.
the
We'll
tree.
take care of that.
Water the tree. And water the tree. And there is some garbage, and there's that infamous garbage can across the street. So it has been requested to move the garbage can to your side. We tried that once, and then the other side became trashy. So this whole corner is a problem because of illegal dumping, which is not your fault, okay? There is an illegal dumping.
Right. We also have an issue with, even the neighborhood, they'll come and throw their trashes.
So we all know who that is. We know who that is. I'm not going to talk about it. We do know who that is. And if you see them, and I know you know who it is, you need to tell them not to do it. So I have talked to DPW, and things are in the works. But if you see them, and I know you see them, we all do, tell them do not do it. The fines are coming.
All right, that sounds good.
We know you know.
We are working to improve the building characters in the areas, and as you know, we discussed about the upcoming venture for us. So we have to obtain all the permittings and required for us to go ahead and do the patchings. All the construction is necessary. So we're working on that.
Are we making an announcement tonight? This is a big announcement.
No, I don't think we should, because we haven't completely have all the required documents in hand. So we don't know how long it's gonna take for all of this. And hopefully now DC is opening back up, so we'll be able to communicate better with the licensing office and all that. So that way we know we don't have exact definitive date and time.
Okay, more good news to come, right? We'll make a big announcement.
Absolutely, we love the area. We want to stay there for a long period of time, so we're gonna make a lot more improvements.
Good. We like to hear improvements. All right. So commissioners, any questions about this renewal? No. Okay. Any questions from the community? Use the raise your hand feature or press *9. This is for the liquor store that is on the corner of 5th and M Street. Sane Wine and Spirits. No. Okay. All right, I move that ANC 6E support the renewal for the Class A retail liquor store license for 1201 Fifth Street, Sane Wine and Spirits, and we communicate that to Abra. Any questions about my motion?
No.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second it.
Michael Eichler seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Frank?
Abstention.
One abstention.
Yeah.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you. Thanks for zooming in. Okay, next we're back in Commissioner Eichler's area, 1000 S Street, the 10th Street Market.
Yes, can you see if Adam Busywork is on the line? He's representative from the new owners.
Adam, if you have press *9 or use the raise your hand feature. Ed, do you see Adam? No. Go ahead, Alex.
All right, so 10th Street Market also has new owners. And just as with ABT Market, there was a lack of satisfactory relationship with the community based on the upkeep of the market and the surrounding area. However, now that the business is in new hands, the facility is completely being renovated. The new business model is being implemented. There's an objective to create an outdoor porch, which obviously will have to be permitted. But the intention is to create a more of a destination market, not solely selling alcohol. And the committee saw a presentation from the owner. We were very impressed, as were neighborhood residents that were also on the call. And we had hoped that the presentation would be made this evening, but failing that, the committee did vote to recommend that the full commission support the renewal of this license. And importantly, although there had been several sales to minor in the previous 2 years, the new owner is committed to using the necessary technology to ensure that no phony IDs or underage customers will be able to purchase alcohol from their establishment.
So anyone zoom in from the 10th Street Market? Press *9 if you're on the phone or use the raise your hand feature. Nope. Okay, Michael.
So yeah, so my update, we did speak for a bit with the new owners, and also had some community members actually join the call. It's sort of neat when they join the ABC licensing committee to express some concerns and optimism about the future enhancements to the storefront. I'm excited to see what will come of it as well, and just happy to hear if the community has any, or if the other commissioners or community has any comments.
Any questions from the commissioners about this?
Hey, I have a question. So the outdoor patio area, would that be for on-site consumption of food and beverage, I'm assuming?
That was the way that it was described, yes.
Yeah, it's sort of a 4-season outdoors, indoor space.
But again,
Okay.
all subject to application and permitting, so that's.
So this would kind of be like a Glenn's Garden Market type of establishment.
That was the way it was portrayed.
Okay.
Any questions from the community? Use the raise your hand feature or press *9. This is concerning the 10th Street Market. Nope. Okay. Okay, Michael.
Okay, I move that ANC 6E support the renewal of the Class A liquor license for 10th Street Market DC Inc. located at 1000 S Street Northwest, and we communicate that to Abra.
Any questions about the motion? Okay, do we have a second?
A second.
Kevin seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
One extension.
Okay, Frank abstains. Motion passes. Thank you, Alex Padro. See you soon. Okay, so next we have our only, let's bring, Ed, can you bring over Tony Brown? And let's find Don here and bring him over. Okay, this is in my area. This is 1120 6th Street, the Galbraith AME Church. This is the little row house that they own immediately to the right of the front that they are going to do renovation. And this is for their HPRB application. Tony?
Yes.
Don, other Don, do you want to, you want to present?
Well, yeah, Andre there.
Who are we looking for?
Andre Banks, an architect.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's bring him over here. 1 second. There he goes.
He's on. Okay, well, we're basically
There he is.
the building inside now, 26th Street. We got preliminary approval from the Planning and Zoning Committee last week. It was pending the stairs, the outside stairs. So Rochelle, this morning I emailed you. It's like 11 pages. Did you get it? The rendering of the stairs, how they're going to look, the entry level.
Oh, is it different? Oh, I'm sorry. You have, and you guys going to present?
Yes, yes.
Who are
And
you guys
also
gonna
the
present?
garage is going to be raised in the back as well.
Wait a minute. Maybe I didn't get it. Wait a minute. Was that where you said thanks for the reminder?
It was an email after that one,
Oh, hold on.
possibly before, but around the same
ahead.
time.
Oh. I just thought you said thanks.
I just want to make sure that everyone had at least an opportunity to see what we're
And-
doing.
Can you show it, Andre?
How would I do that?
Share your screen. See the share screen?
Okay, okay, yeah. All right, let's see. Let's see. Okay, I think I can find the email here.
There it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So this is the property in question, 1120 6th Street.
I think you gotta push it.
And
Yeah. We're not seeing
I'm
anything.
sorry?
We see your email still.
Okay.
It's not pulling up.
Let's see.
Can you tap it?
All right, let me try it again.
Is it attached on the bottom, maybe?
What about now?
No, still your
No.
email.
Huh.
Okay.
Let me try.
Can
one
you
more
do it,
time.
Don?
There's a suggestion from
Here we go.
Oh,
What about
hooray.
that?
Hooray.
great, thank you.
Okay. Took me a little while to figure it out. Okay, so the property that we are renovating is located immediately north of the church structure, which is here. So it's this property right here. There's one peculiar circumstance with the property in that the property is only 12 feet 6 inches wide. So it's very narrow relative to the adjacent properties, which are about 15 to 16 feet wide. So our property encompasses an area of this width, where all the other properties encompass a wider space, which we don't have. So as a result of that, most of the stairways that are existing go straight out from the front facade of the building. Since our building is not that wide, our step needs to start at the projection as opposed to the front wall of the building. So we can't do a straight continuous run of stairs similar to the adjacent. So we have to come down and turn to maintain the allowable distance from that DDOT allows for structures in public space. The face of these buildings minus the projections is the property line for the building. So the property lines are at this flush face that you see here, and all the projections are in public space, including the stairs that you see on the adjacent properties. So our stair too will be in public space. So to accomplish the ability to get to the second floor, we have to turn our stair to stay on our property. So this is a representation of what the stair will be. In this rendering, we showed the stair as gray because the black image kind of made the stair disappear. You couldn't really see what we were doing. So even though we show it in a gray hue, it will be black as the adjacent properties do exist. So this stair and the addition of a doorway to get to the second floor will be all the renovations we'll be doing to the front of the building. The rest of the facade will basically be restored, new windows, new doors, and repair of the masonry that's on the exterior. The church will maintain the first floor as a community support space for the church, and the second and third floor will become apartments that the church will be leasing. So we'll have 2 apartments, and the first level will be a community outreach space for the church. So that's the extent of the changes on the front facade. The attached drawings and photographs were submitted to the Office of Historic Preservation to show the context of the building, the size of the property, and what the property looks like along the block, as well as shots of the rear of the facility. And the garage that currently exists at the facility will be raised so that we can get accomplish 60% lot occupancy, which is allowed by the zoning code, and to try to get square footage that we need within the space because of the narrow 12-foot 6-inch width. So the rear of the building will be extended to a point of about right here. I think the next slide shows. So this box here represents the rear expansion of this structure to encompass the 60% lot occupancy. And again, the garage, which is located here and here, will be raised. And then I think we also presented a site plan. This is 6th Street. This is the current facility, which you can see outlined here. And the grade area here is the extension that will be developed in the rear. So you'll see we have a substantial amount of green space and potential parking area that will be at the rear of the building. The space you see here is the current church structure that abuts this property at this point.
So you didn't change, when we had initially talked, you were not requesting any zoning exceptions. Is that still correct?
That is correct. Yeah, everything that we're doing is a matter of right within the current zone. And then I think so. This is basically a floor plan. This is that first level that will be the church's outreach space, sort of primarily be an open space. There will be a small kitchenette, HVAC unit, and a bathroom that will be added, and then there will be exit to the rear to get to the rear of the site, and a little paved terrace area that's in the rear. On the upper floors, we'll enter from the new stairway to a little alcove that'll have access to the upper unit via these stairs and access into the second floor unit in this space. There'll be a living, dining, kitchen area at the front of the facility, and then 2 bedrooms at the rear with 2 full baths at the rear. And each of the spaces will have a small balcony that'll, again, be encompassed in the 60% lot occupancy. So both plans are similar. At the upper 3rd floor, you would enter through this doorway up the stairs, land at the living, dining area, kitchen space, and again, 2 bedrooms and 2 full baths at the rear. And I think the elevations, we'll be adding windows to the current blank masonry wall that faces the church open area, which is on the south side of the building. Again, the front facade showing the new stair. And then the rear, we'll have a spiral stair so that the 3rd floor unit can get down to garbage and access parking that would be in the rear. Again, you'll see the 2 balconies. Again, you'll notice the very narrow width that we're dealing with for the width of the property. And this is just a building section that is part of our DCRA submission of the construction drawings that were part of our submission. So that's basically the extent of what we're doing. And again, I think a primary concern would be the front stair that is visible from 6th Street.
Mhm.
Right. That was primarily what the zoning and planning committee wanted to see.
Yep.
The stairs and how it affected the neighborhood and how it corresponded to the adjacent properties.
Okay, anything else, Tony Brown?
No, well explained. The only exception that they needed was for the non-conforming stairs, which extended out into the public space. Everything was wonderful.
Well, this is for HPRB.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
All right,
And of course, we do have to go through DDOT for approval of the public space. So that's in the process.
Right.
so will you be coming back to us for that?
Not unless DDOT requests that. I'm not sure that they would specifically request it. I think once we get through HPO, I think that should satisfy their issue about, public concern.
Okay, great. So just to let everyone know, with the commissioners, I put this out on my social media and just, received just a little bit of feedback to what are the stairs going to look like, and but no, nothing negative. Now, did you guys, Don, did you reach out to the immediate neighbors?
The church is in the process of doing that now.
Why are they doing it now? The meeting's tonight.
Meaning they've reached out to some neighbors, but not to everyone.
Yeah, actually, the 4 properties that are immediately adjacent to this property are owned by the church.
Yeah.
So all these properties you see in this view are all owned by the church.
What about across the street? Did you guys go across the street like I asked?
Well, that's the thing. They've reached out to a few people across the street, but some people, they're knocking on the doorbell, ringing the doorbell, they have not spoken to. But
Did you
spoken to a
leave
handful of people.
something? Did you leave anything?
I'm not sure. I need to follow up with them about that. But to my knowledge, they spoke with a few people, a few neighbors, and no one seemed to have any queries or any type of comments whatsoever. It seemed like a moot point to most of them. They didn't care.
Okay, but they did do it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because that's, anything, that people can look at is considered a big deal. Can you guys take down the presentation? Great. Okay, any questions from the commissioners about this? No? Okay. Any questions from the community? This is the little tiny row house that has not been used in quite a while, I'll say, right? Am I correct,
Right.
gentlemen?
Yeah.
That hopefully
It
will
served
be.
primarily as an outreach program for the church.
Yep. So any questions from the community? You use the raise your hand feature or press *9. This is for 1126th Street, the little narrow row house that Galbraith AME Church owns. Nope. Okay. All right, let me make the motion and keep doing your outreach, you guys, okay? I didn't hear anything bad, but you know, I feel that's a big deal to me. Okay, so I move that ANC 6E support the plans for 1126th Street Northwest, the Galbraith AME Church Row House for the Historic Preservation Review Board, and we communicate that to HPRB.
I'll second that.
Michael seconds. Any questions about the motion? No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Denise? I think Denise gone. Denise?
She's there. She's screen off and muted right now.
Okay,
Aye.
so no vote from Denise. Karen?
Okay.
Motion passes. Alex Lopez?
I said aye.
Okay, okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Don and Andre.
For your time, appreciate it. Take
Okay,
care.
talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, so now we're in Michael's area, the Shaw Community Center. This is a request for grant or for public arts display. And I don't know if it's what the first name is. Oh, there she is. It a man or a woman? There she is.
Selena, I believe.
Oh, yep.
Or Serena.
Where'd she go? Oh, there she is. I'm going to move her over here. Oh, here she go. Did she raise her hand? Oh, there she is. Hi, go ahead and mute yourself. Hi.
Okay, and let me get my video on. Okay, hi. How are you?
Great.
This seems like such a fun group. So good evening. My name is Serena Wiltshire, and on behalf of the Shaw Community Center, I'd first like to thank the commission for giving us the opportunity to appear tonight. I don't know how many of you, I sent in a slide deck to Rochelle and Michael. I don't know how many of you have looked at it. There have been some changes, and I should alert you to that fact up front.
You can share. You can share.
Okay, let me get that up. Okay, let me get it in the slideshow. Can you see the whole screen now? Okay. All right, so as I said, I'm with Shaw Community Center, and we are requesting support from you all for a public art display. We are applying for a grant from the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities, and part of their grant application requires us to submit a letter from you all. What I should tell you a little bit about SCC to start with. We are a 501c3 organization that has provided direct services to youth and families in the Shaw neighborhood for 30 years. We have received for the past decade grants for racial equity, cultural identity, and placekeeping, which are all important objectives in our mission. And we currently run our after-school workforce development and youth support services out of the Lincoln Congregational Temple building that's located at the corner of 11th and R. Okay, what we plan on is a digital media installation that we were talking about presenting as part of Art All Night, but the creative team decided that it was going to be too complicated. And instead we'd like to install it as part of the commemoration of our 30th anniversary next June. The 30th anniversary is actually this June, but because of COVID, we're extending that, and the exact date is yet to be determined. Okay, the location of the display will be outdoors on the lawn and sidewalks surrounding the church, and on the steps and parking area in front of the church. So this is a picture that shows the front of the church, and it will extend across the front and down our street there. The elements of the display, it's going to be a digital media installation that one part of it will be video and still photography projections of cultural assets and different cultural events and icons, and they'll all be projected on outdoor screens and textile wall surfaces. The second element is a cultural arts marketplace that will simulate a setting similar to that which used to exist at the corner of 9th Street and Florida Avenue. The projections on the wall surfaces will make people who are walking through feel as though they're walking through the original market, looking at displays of cultural significance and artifacts created by DC artisans and artists. And then the third part is we are going to have the DC Humanities truck from American University park along the side of the, I guess in the parking spaces in front of the church. And it will be used both to display cultural artifacts that reveal Shaw's cultural journey, and it will allow attendees to learn about and reflect on the impact of systemic racism, gentrification, and ensuing cultural and physical displacement. The Shaw Community Center hopes that the installation will not only remind people not only of the cultural assets and the basic community resources that are lost by legacy residents of color in neighborhoods that are gentrifying, but also that Shaw is still home to people who have cultivated the rich traditions that make it the vibrant and historic neighborhood that it is. Oh, and there is a site map at the next screen. It's been revised from the last one. We had very specific locations pinpointed for the different elements, and our artistic team said that it's just too difficult at this point in the planning process to figure out exactly where everything is going because of projection issues and things like that. So that's still to be determined, but what's within the blue is the area that we would be looking at using. Okay. Any questions? I have, I think one of our creative team members is on the meeting with us. So if we have any questions about that, if I could pull him in.
Yeah, did you want to get your creative staff logged on as well as a?
Yeah, if
What's his name?
Nabi, N-A-B-E-E-H.
Okay, 1 second.
I see N-A-B-I.
N-A-B-I, that, okay.
Is that him?
Yeah. And then I can also ask our grant writer to come on if we need her also. She is actually in Hawaii. So I'm going to text her and ask her to join in.
I would probably say that we can let her enjoy her vacation if that's what she's doing.
Actually,
at
she
this
lives
point.
there actually.
Oh, she does. Okay. Then bring her on, I guess.
Okay.
We have
no.
Nabby's on, or if Nabby, you can unmute yourself.
Do you want me to stop sharing or do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead and stop sharing. Go ahead. Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Nabby.
Nabi, do you want to unmute yourself? I don't know, maybe
not.
Let me get.
Hello?
Oh, there he is.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about that.
And Ann Troy is going to jump on too, I think, in a few seconds.
In the interest of time, Naveed, would you want to just tell us what you have to share with us?
Yeah, sure. So what I'm working with the Shaw Community Center is to create an art installation that that celebrates and commemorates some of the things that they view as cultural assets, as well as people that have been sort of pillars of the neighborhood. And we be theming the art installation will be a multi-part art installation that would take on about 3 to 4 themes. So there'd be a total of 4 pieces within the installation, and they'd be designed around creating sort of like altar pieces. So they would kind of look like an altar, but they would be decorated and contain elements that they kind of commemorate different things that tie themselves back to the community and the community center in specific. One piece would be a large, or I would say a life-size model of clay boats, and that would commemorate a demonstration that the Shaw community students did a while back, as an homage to their sort of autonomy as kind of community leaders and kind of making their voices heard. And the goal ultimately would be for people to just generally learn more about the Shaw Community Center and its history, and then also just the greater history of some of these cultural assets that have existed in Shaw overall.
And just, you may be wondering, the Lincoln Temple congregation has signed a letter in support of the project.
What was your person's name? Was it Ann Troy?
Ann Troy, yeah.
Okay.
She said she's on.
Yep, let me move her over here. Oh, there she is. I did it. Yep.
Ann, you can unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. Okay, I'm here.
Okay. We were just sort of fielding some questions from.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Sure. So my primary question is just the use of the space, especially the public space, and whether it's going to remain accessible to pedestrians throughout the duration of the installation. Do you have any thoughts on sidewalk and curb cut accessibility through the duration of the display?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I
go ahead,
chime in?
Naveed.
Yeah, sure. The idea is that it would pretty much happen around the perimeter of the Shaw Community Center and Lincoln Temple. The display would be up for, the idea is that it would be up for ideally no more than, I think we said possibly no more than 2 days that it would be up for. And it would actually be a self-standing portable installation. So kind of think about the perimeter of that space, we'd be able to sort of modify the installation itself to fit within that area.
So that doesn't quite address my question, which is that there are public sidewalks within that blue line on the map. And I want to hear what your plans are for ensuring that pedestrians can move through that space unobstructed, especially if they're having mobility issues, anyone in a wheelchair, for example.
I think the idea is that people are supposed to be able to move through it like it's a marketplace. So
Yeah.
the structures that will be set up are going to be set up such that, there is sufficient room. I don't know that, for people who might be on bicycles or, actually riding the bicycles, probably be a little difficult, but I think for most, for pedestrians and people with in wheelchairs, yes, strollers, that sort of thing.
But just to add a little more clarity, the people who are witnessing the art are going to be standing in the sidewalk. Is that correct?
Yeah, in the street, in the sidewalks, on the steps, yes.
Okay, so I'm just wondering if someone who's experiencing the art may be obstructing someone who's trying to move through in a wheelchair, for example. Like, how might you address those concerns?
That's a good.
I think our main thing would be not to obstruct. Again, one thing that we'd have to do, because right now we are in the concept phase of this, we'd have to actually do a site visit and accommodate and account for those things. In some cases, it may require, we've discussed the need for permits in some cases to, if it has to go, if some special accommodation has to be made for that, then we would have to consider that. But the goal is not to obstruct people who need the sidewalk from accessing it. So that's something that we have to pay very close attention to as we continue to build onto the concept of it.
We would, so we are contemplating having our Shaw youth, our teens mostly, be docents and talk about their experiences as Shaw residents. And so I could see us tasking them, not only handing out promotional brochures, being the docents, but also keeping the path clear. If that is something that that is very important, of course, to the committee, we could commit to that. And we would do a test run, as Nabi says. I've been in a wheelchair, on crutches, on a bike, and we could test it out just to make sure that people who are mobility compromised can get around. We can make that commitment.
This question relates somewhat. This is from the little question and answer box. It's from Rachel Gass. So she goes, I really like the idea a lot, Miss Wilkshire. The question is, will this be made accessible as possible? Example, captions on videos. Also, how we ensure that the sidewalks remain open, which Michael just talked about, and accessible as well. Visual displays can be inaccessible to certain members of the disability community while navigating infrastructure. So other means of accessibility.
That's a really great point to make. And I, we will commit to making it happen. I don't know how much of these requirements DDOT will also factor into its, public space permit. But, we will make sure that, and actually if we can get some comments from the community like this and help us, figure it out, we'd be happy to talk to people about it and make sure it happens.
Yeah, I think you will hear from DDOT. So we're trying to bring it up now so that you're not surprised as you get further down the process and realize that you run into a problem where you're like in your best case scenario, you may have the sidewalk filled with people witnessing art, and that is the worst case scenario for someone in a wheelchair who's trying to navigate the sidewalk, who may care about your project, but maybe can't even navigate through it to see it or experience it because of the constraints of the sidewalk, et cetera. There is also, there is a bicycle lane there on our street. Like, you may want to consider proposing taking the parking spaces and having the viewing area be off the sidewalk and on the street. Just make, a physical barrier to make sure that someone who's viewing doesn't step backwards into the bicycle lane. I mean, this is, a very active, as as being part of the community, it is a very active pedestrian environment. And we just want to make sure that no one has a really bad day while you're trying to have a really great experience for the community here.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions from the commissioners?
Hi, this is Alex Lopez. I'm Commissioner for 6002, just east of Mike Lycor's district. And I am really excited. I think echoing some of the comments you've heard, I'm really excited about this, this project and about celebrating the 30th anniversary. I really like that you are recognizing and celebrating the history of our community. And especially excited for the inclusion of the DC Humanities Truck, which recently published an exceptional exhibit on the gentrification and urban renewal and displacement of Mount Vernon Square, which was incredibly enlightening for me, and looking forward to capturing some of those same stories for our Shaw neighborhood. With regard to the public space issues, I also chair our Transportation Advisory Committee. And so when you get to a point when you are applying for a public space permit from DDOT, I would ask that you come present before the Transportation Committee so that we have an opportunity to review those plans and provide any feedback to DDOT as appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, I will make sure we do that.
I think also Candace is in the call. She raised her hand. She had a little information to provide as well on this topic. If Candace Taylor is in the meeting, I think she's raising her hand.
I don't see her on the screen to be.
She'll be over in a second.
Oh,
There she
okay,
is.
there she is, yeah.
Hi, yes, I just wanted to just clarify, I would be sort of managing this project. We're working through like the PABC grant. I've done it a few times. So yeah, just in terms of accessibility, viewer angles, all of that will be just taken into account. There will be no blockage of the sidewalks in any way, really. That shouldn't be an issue. The art pieces will be on the property of like the Lincoln Temple, the church grounds itself. And the idea is for it to be a passive exhibit. So we aren't encouraging any crowds, any long-term gathering of any sort. I mean, the idea is for it to be viewed from a bit of a distance. So, you know, like from a, you know, people walking across the street and stuff like that might have like better vantage points than people directly on the sidewalk. We'd be projecting from high, so as not to get anything blocking like the images. So we will be like considering all of those things just in terms of how we implement the final kind of project installation.
And not to cut Alex off, we'll make the commitment to appear before, I guess, DDOT and make our presentation about mobility issues and accessibility issues.
Thanks. I would request that you come to the ANC Transportation Committee
okay.
at the time that you submit the application to do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, great. We're gonna open up open it to community questions, but I have one in the chat already from Alex Padro. Which DCCHAH grant program are you applying to, and what is the requested amount of the grant?
We're applying for the Public Art Building Communities grant, and the maximum amount of the grant that can be asked for is $125,000. We haven't fully firmed up our budget, but we are in that range. Hi, Alex. This is Ann Troy.
Okay. Alex, did you want to say something else here? I'm gonna unmute. Alex, did you want to say something else?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. So thanks, Ann. Glad to see you're still involved with the center. But
Alex, I have never stopped writing grants for Shaw.
Good for you. So now my concern is, as a past grantee, Shaw Main Streets has been a grantee for the PABC fund for the past 10 years. I'm concerned that you're applying for the wrong grant opportunity. Because what it's, PABC is generally for longer term installations. So, you know, murals, sculpture, that are, you can do something that's going to be up for up to 2 years, but generally they prefer something that's going to be for 5+ years, considered permanent. So that's number one. Number two, the projects, events, and festivals grant is probably the grant opportunity that best is aligned with what you're proposing, which has a deadline of June the 18th. But it has a much lower grant amount. That's only for $15,000. So
Okay,
just wanted to
yeah.
share that, you know, to make sure that you've been in touch with Alyssa Maru, who's the program manager at DCCIH, to discuss your application, because I hate for you to go to a lot of trouble and not be eligible for the funding for something that should be a lot of fun.
Yes, Alex, thank you for those comments. I have been, actually, Serena, Sudi, and I have been in contact with Alyssa Maru. We've sat through actually 2 grant webinars. We sent her our grant proposal, our description of our project, and asked her questions about whether this was the right grant to apply for. And she agreed that it was. And with regard to the question about whether it's a, so digital projections are expressly included in the grant as public art. And it can be permanent, or, you know, permanent meaning it never comes down, or temporary, and temporary can be as short as 1 day, according to Alyssa. As with regard to PEF, projects, events, and festival grant, we have applied for 2 years in a row, have received PEF for our Lee on the 11th Art All Night event in September. And we recently received notice that we were going to get a general operating support grant from the DC Commission on the Arts. In that case, David Markey, who is the Deputy Director of the DC Arts Commission, told me that I cannot apply for PEF or arts education and get general operating support. So the only arts project that was left open to us was public art building communities. And that's why I'm applying for it, Alex.
Okay, great. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, okay. All right, so any other community questions about this grant application for the Shaw Community Center? Press star 9 if you're on the phone, or
I have one more question about, because this is an art project that's being created for a limited duration. Do you anticipate there being any documentation or digital exhibit that is produced from this installation that can then be used at a later time? I think I read that you were capturing some oral histories as part of this. Can you talk a little bit about what some of that documentation or how that would be accessible after the installation concludes, if that is an element of this project?
So Nabi, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first, Dan.
Okay, well, I'll let Nabi talk about the clay boats and the projections. I'm going to talk about the storytelling, the capture of the storytelling by the DC Humanities Truck. So I've been in contact with Dan Kerr of American University, and he has agreed in principle to talk about the use of the DC Humanities Truck, which will be used for 2 purposes. One is that its side will be a projection, hopefully a projection place, so we can project some of the digital projections that Nabi is going to create. And second, there'll be someone who will be taking the stories and collecting the stories, video recording the stories, and keeping those stories of Shaw residents of mostly about people who have been forced to leave the neighborhood, you know, because they've lived there for generations, but now with gentrification, they're being forced to leave. So those are the stories we're going to collect.
Okay.
And will those stories be published and accessible?
Probably, yeah. We would, you know, our whole idea is everything that we do, we want our youth to learn how to do. So even though we're going to have DC Humanities truck and a professional videographer take the stories, we're going to have our youth there too, trying to learn how to do videography, how to do the editing of the videos, and so then also the posting on our website.
Great, thank you.
Any other community questions? Press *9 or use the raise your hand feature.
You know, I do have one more question about the humanities truck. Does the truck have to be on while it's being used, or is it like, how is it powered?
I don't know. Michael, that's a good question. I do not know.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's in line with the rules for idling. If it needs to be, you know, burning fuel on the corner, you know, that's an air quality issue that we may, I'm sure that the humanities truck's got itself figured out, but I just felt the need to ask. So.
Okay. I never thought to ask.
Okay. Any other questions before Michael makes a motion from anyone? I think we're safe. Okay. All right, go ahead, Commissioner Eichler.
Okay, I move that the ANC 6E approve and support the application for a PABC grant application for a public art display at the corner of 11th and R Lincoln Congregation Temple.
Okay, any questions about the motion? Okay, all the commissioners, can you guys unmute yourself? Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Patrick, Alex, Frank, Michael, nothing from Denise, and Kevin is not among us. So minus Kevin. So Michael, Rochelle, Alex, Patrick, Frank.
Kevin is back in the attendee list with a
Is he?
hand raised. So
Oh no,
I'm
hold
assuming
on.
that
Oh,
was
there
an
he
aye.
is. I'm sorry, wait. What happened to Kevin? Why did you go back over? I still get to say Kevin. I thought that would end today. Kevin. Kevin,
I'm still here.
how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Kevin votes yes. Only Denise, but we do not have a vote from Denise. Okay, motion passes. Great. Okay, great. All right, thank you,
Thank you.
everyone, for all your
Thank you.
answers.
Thank you very much for your time.
Aloha. Thank you.
Aloha. Okay, that was fun. All right, so now it's going to be, we have quick comments from 21 L Street Northwest, the Northwest 1 project. Nick, are you with us, Nick?
Gordon.
Nick Gordon. Oh, there you are, Nick Gordon. Okay. All right, Nick, you can unmute
Hey,
yourself.
can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Perfect. All right, so my name is Nick Gordon. I'm the development manager of the Northwest 1 project on the corner of North Capinel. I'm with MRP Realty, and with me tonight is my co-developer, David Janaround from Taylor Adams Associates, and Alex Grega from McCullough Construction. Alex is the project executive from the contractor and is here to answer any questions. I'd like to thank the committee for hosting us today on short notice, and specifically Commissioner Rogers for your support to date. So we're here tonight to provide an update on the construction of the new L Street. So the portion that we're responsible is the area between North Capitol and First Place. So it's, if you can picture from North Capitol, just passed along the Mount Airy Baptist Church. So there's going to be a full construction of the L Street to widen it to a full DDOT standard. But the part that we are responsible for is essentially the area that fronts the Mount Airy Baptist Church. The remainder of the road will be constructed by the Sursum Corda development team, but we're coordinating with them to ensure the smoothest transition for the community, and most notably the church. And we've been working with Pastor West and the team to ensure that church attendees are able to continue to attend with minimal disruptions, and most importantly, safely, especially once they're able to get back to full capacity. So our main goal tonight is just to provide the ANC with an update on schedule and what to expect on that stretch in the coming months. The good news is we won't be closing the road at any point. However, there will be a slight disruption to pedestrian traffic, and all of this has been approved with DDOT and been through public space, and this is just kind of a notification that kind of what's to come in the short term. In terms of schedule, we're aiming to commence work with the wet utilities, so water, sewer, sanitary, storm, in mid-June. This work, it will last around 1 to 2 months, and about 80% of it will take place within the project fencing, so not on the L Street area. But during this time, there will be a gated pedestrian walkway. It's compliant and also, again, approved by DDOT. The true hardscape work, so the kind of your traditional asphalt striping and sidewalk, that's going to take place later in the fall, so October, early November. Again, we won't be closing the roads, but there may be temporary disruptions, kind of with the traffic signal, traffic worker to help guide traffic. But we don't have an exact date for that, but we'll notify the ANC prior to commencing that work. And then the last major portion that's coming down the road is an updated traffic signal on the North Cap and L Street intersection. And this will take place in early 2022, which again has been approved by DDOT. Once complete, the new L Street will be a full DDOT standard 90-foot 2-lane right of way with sidewalks on the north and south end of the block, and will be dedicated when it's all done. And we're really excited about this portion of the project and what it's going to, kind of the changes that we think that'll bring, and we think it'll make it safer and a real pedestrian experience. So with that, open it up to any questions for myself or Alex or Dave.
I don't see.
And I can share a map.
Brandon. Who's Brandon? Brandon, that's yours, right?
Will that help if I share the map?
Yeah,
of
you
what
can
I'm talking
show.
about?
Yeah, absolutely. Go. Yep.
All right, can you see my screen?
Not yet. Is Brandon on your team, right?
Brandon is not on my team.
Marcus, can you move Brandon over?
Are you able to see now?
Yes.
Perfect. So I guess real quick, this is the site right now. So we're moving pretty quickly. But so the portion we're talking about, so this is North Cap, this is Mount Airy. It's from right here on North Cap to I guess we are responsible to right here. So it's this stretch. Again, the L Street and the area that's being widened, if you can picture this L Street just continuing, that's what this portion is going to be dedicated. And so it's going to be a 2-lane road with the sidewalk on this side in front of the church, as well as a sidewalk in front of the new Northwest 1 project here. And then the Sursum team up here, they're going to take the new First Place, and then they pick up the rest of the road. And so there'll be a gated pedestrian access just while the utility work's going on, and then later on while the hardscape's happening. So there will still be full access. It's just going to be a slight disruption.
Okay. You want to go ahead and stop sharing now?
Sure.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners about this?
Yes.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yes, Nick, I was concerned about the two lane episode of which way the traffic gonna go. And another question of mine, the church has stairways coming down to the side of the alley. Would that be disrupted or y'all gonna leave it as the same?
Yeah, so the Sursum team, part of their PUD, they're working with Pastor West and they're kind of managing it. The short answer is the stairways will connect to the sidewalk. And so they've been working closely with the pastor, with their team, to make sure that everyone's kind of in the loop on how that's going to work. But again, the answer is the stairs will lead to the new sidewalk.
Okay.
And then in terms of two-way traffic, so it's a little bit tricky because the goal for the final condition, it will extend further along, but in the interim it can't make it that way. And so it's going to be basically two-way to First Place, which is that new road on the west side of the church. But then after that, it will remain the one-way traffic. I might need to pull the visual up again. Let's see. I'm gonna share it again real fast. This might help.
Is that one-way traffic going toward North Capitol?
And it'll be it will be one way towards North Capitol, correct? But it'll be two-way in this area. Here, I'm gonna share it real fast. So it'll be two-way from here to here. But then because obviously we can't build the road where there's existing housing, it's going to be two-way from here to here, and then in the interim condition, it'll just be the one-way.
Okay, got you. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the other commissioners? Okay. Any questions from the community about this project and the changes in the area temporarily? Press *9 if you're on the phone, or use the raise your hand feature. Nope. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Bye-bye. All right, now it is all Commissioner Lopez.
All right, thank you. 1 second while I pull this up. So I have a number of different motions that I'm going to make this evening regarding the S Street Northwest Revitalization Project. This is a capital project with DDOT that focuses on improving pedestrian safety, traffic calming, and improving streetscape and stormwater retention for S Street Northwest between 7th Street and Florida Avenue Northwest, as well as on 6th Street between S Street and Rhode Island Avenue Northwest. I am going to, I think, so this project is the culmination of literally decades of advocacy by neighbors in the S Street area to reverse changes that were made to the streetscape in, I believe, the 1970s in anticipation of the Center Lake Freeway that was never extended through Shaw. But those changes effectively widened 6th Street and removed a lot of the front yards and street trees that the neighborhood previously enjoyed. And so not only is this a traffic calming measure, but it's also meant in some regards to restore some of the streetscape that was there before. I'm going to try to share my screen here just to show folks who are tuning in what this project looks like. I'll go through this really quickly, and DDOT's not on the line, so obviously if there are technical questions, I can't answer it. But the project includes a number of safety improvements, including these curb bulb outs at a lot of the intersections. So this is 7th and S. The bulb outs will reduce crossing distance for pedestrians and narrow kind of the aperture that drivers proceed through to enter the intersection, which slows them through the intersection and makes the turning radius narrower. Moving west along the corridor, there are going to be some new trees here. This is Wiltberger Street. There's going to be a new crosswalk and curb cuts on the west side of Wiltberger, as well as some stormwater retention facilities. This crosswalk in particular, I want to highlight because DDOT is contemplating making this a raised crosswalk. So it'd be kind of like a speed table. So drivers driving into S Street would need to slow down, not only for pedestrians in the crosswalk, but also in anticipation for entering this traffic calming zone. Moving over to 6th Street, again, there's bulb outs on each of the corners, high visibility crosswalks. We're getting stormwater retention facilities on each of these corners that will be include plantings of I think native plants, which should be kind of nice. Going down 6th Street Northwest is narrowed. Right now, it's the lanes are extremely wide, so this block of 6th Street will be narrowed, and then again, curb extensions at the intersection of Rhode Island and 6th. The sidewalk's going to be widened. There will be new shade trees going all up and down 6th Street, which will be nice. Moving over to 5th Street Northwest, this is currently a two-way stop. So there's a stop sign on 5th Street on the north and south side, but there's no stop sign on S Street, and consequently crossing S Street here as a pedestrian is very scary, and cars do tend to zip down the street quite fast. So DDOT proposes changing this to a four-way stop, as well as installing these curb extensions. And moving further down, I want to pay particular attention to this triangle, this traffic triangle here bordered by New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Florida. The 65% design would close S Street. So S Street currently provides a cut through this triangle. The design closes S Street here. There will be a driveway allowing the post office to exit. This will be exit only. And the space that used to be the roadbed here will be reallocated to enjoyment by residents, navigation by pedestrians, people on bicycles, people on scooters. And so it'll go a long way towards both creating this new public space, but also making the whole traffic situation around this triangle a little bit less confusing, and hopefully resulting in fewer crashes at what is now a very high crash complex of intersections. So this is the design. I would say that the Transportation Committee reviewed it last week. We were largely very pleased with the design. We had a couple of recommendations that I'm including in the resolution. One is to make this crosswalk that goes from the triangle and extends over to Rhode Island Avenue, extend this crosswalk so that it's more of a wedge shape, so that you could cross from this corner on Florida up to the the west corner of 4th Street with a curb cut here, and then proceed on 4th Street. That's one enhancement we're recommending. Another enhancement is to create a pedestrian path leading through this grassy section so that pedestrians coming from 4th Street to the bus stop on Rhode Island don't have to cut across the grass and vice versa. And then the last recommendation we're including is over here on Wiltberger Street. We're requesting the addition of a raised crosswalk here on S Street on the west side of Wiltberger. So I'll stop there in case commissioners or anybody in the audience has any questions about the design that I might be able to answer, and then I can move on to the resolutions.
Commissioners, any questions?
We go back to Rhode Island 4th to the right.
Yes.
Can you explain how the traffic coming down 4th Street from Howard University area, how that's going to be feeding to the traffic into the intersection? For they used to cross, what's the name of that street? The street that's angled from Rhode Island, that crosses Rhode Island and New Jersey Avenue.
They used to come through. So this is currently part of S Street that curves around and feeds into 4th. This will be closed and reallocated to kind of a public space, kind of a park type space. DDOT has done some traffic analysis to show how common traffic movements from 4th Street will feed into different directions. I think south, east, or west of here. I think you'll be able to turn here onto Florida. You'll be able to turn. I don't know if you're able to turn onto Rhode Island Avenue going westbound, but you will be able to turn onto Rhode Island Avenue going eastbound here. But I can't talk specifically about the outcome of the traffic modeling. But what they did show is that the this change in design would, by removing this cut through, it would significantly reduce cut through traffic on S Street, which is supposed to be a neighborhood street. And it would maintain traffic levels at a level that's kind of acceptable for a low traffic neighborhood street through a lot of the streets and intersections in LaDrake Park. So I think that the network effects of closing this seem to be very manageable and will have positive safety implications for our area.
So if you're going east on Rhode Island Avenue, you'll be able to make a slight left turn to get on 4th Street going towards Howard?
Because
that's a whole lot of traffic that goes down 4th Street towards Howard.
I don't think so, because you're not currently able to make the left from Rhode Island to 4th, are you?
Normally you take that S Street and you make that left turn onto 4th coming from S. I've never taken the Rhode Island and make a left on 4th Street. And that's why I'm curious how that would affect the traffic flow, because when you shut off S Street, I'm trying to understand how that traffic is going to flow either way, north or south from 4th, feeding into the other, where before it would feed into S. I've never made a right turn, right turn from 4th onto, Florida.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand.
I'm not sure. I mean, another maneuver you could do is coming up Rhode Island, you could turn onto New Jersey, turn down Florida, and then turn into 4th.
Like a zigzag.
It is, but I can't remember if this maneuver would be allowed from Rhode Island north onto 4th.
So the whole idea for this particular change is just to slow or diminish the traffic flow on S Street going into the neighborhood? That's the whole purpose?
Yeah, so there's two purposes. That's one. The other is that this traffic triangle was identified, I think, in the Mid-City East livability study as being the highest crash location of any area within that study boundary. And part of that has to do with the fact that there's so many intersections within this very narrow area. And so, for example, there's a stoplight. I think there's a stoplight here, and then there's a stoplight here at 4th Street. And cars coming up Florida often will ignore this stoplight, go through the intersection with 4th, causing crashes. And so this just kind of by removing that S Street cut through, you simplify the intersection considerably, which will make crossing these streets safer. It'll make it safer to drive through. There's some other improvements up here. They're removing the slip lane from Florida Avenue into New Jersey. Straightening out this crosswalk so that it's shorter crossing distance here.
What's the accident rate? Do you have any data on accidents on that intersection of Florida and S in Rhode Island?
I don't at my fingertips, but I do remember that it was called out in the Mid-City East livability study as being the highest crash area within the study. So that's all the way up from kind of my part of Shaw over to Eckington and then down to Noma, some of that area.
Interesting. So when you're coming off S, you'll be able to get to the back of the post office.
This driveway from the post office will be exit only. So you'll enter the post office as you currently do from Florida, and then exit here, and vehicles exiting at the driveway will only be allowed to make a right turn onto New Jersey.
You won't be able to go cross New Jersey onto S.
No, and I think that's good. I think that they're not expecting people to go from the driveway across to S. Maybe this is in anticipation of, avoiding this being used as a cut through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready for community questions, if there's any? Oh, I see one from Gretchen here.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Gretchen. Yep, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I definitely want to speak up in support of Alex's proposal. If I may, I'd like to back up a little bit. This actually started in the 1950s. The feds used to own or operate 6th Street, and the 1700 block of 6th Street between Rhode Island Avenue and S Street and the 400 and 500 blocks of S Street were widened. They took our sidewalks, they took our yards, they took our trees, all to expedite the traffic flow of Maryland traffic from downtown back up to Maryland through S Street and up 4th. We have had sidewalks all those years that are not ADA compliant. We have wheelchairs and baby carriages in the street because the sidewalks are too narrow. We also have had a history of so many accidents I've lost track of at 5th and S, and also up there at Florida Avenue, where it goes over into 4th Street. So everything that Alex said is right on in terms of what needs to be done just to make this a safer area for pedestrians, bikers, just in general for all of us. The other thing that's critical too, especially at this time in our lives, is that we give some memory to the Columbian Harmony Cemetery, which originally was the square block between 5th and 6th, S and Florida Avenue. That cemetery was there from the 1800s. And actually, it's the Columbian Harmony Cemetery. It was relocated from there to where the metro station is on Rhode Island Avenue. And then from there to Maryland. You may have seen an article in the paper not too long ago that talked about someone from Maryland finding tombstones that he thought were rocks floating along the beach. Well, some of these were from the cemetery, but the original location of that cemetery was the square block between 5th, 6th, S and Florida. So it's critical at this time that we commemorate that cemetery. Thank you.
Any other community questions or comments about this? Use the raise your hand feature or press *9 if you're on the phone. Anyone else? Nope. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing here. And I do want to provide an update. The mayor shared her FY22 budget proposal with council on Thursday. And one of the items in that budget is funding for construction of this project. So we should complete the 100% designs by the end of this fiscal year, by the end of September. But funding for the project does exist. However, we're not certain what fiscal year it's going to be funded in. And we know that the capital improvement plan in the budget goes out through FY27. And currently we believe this project is scheduled for funding in FY26. So that's 4 years from now. So I'm going to move 3 motions. The first is that to support the 65% design plans with specific recommendations. The second is to support funding of the S Street Northwest Revitalization Project, the actual construction of the project in FY22. And then the third, which is probably a backstop in case we don't get funding for construction this next fiscal year, is to request that DDOT implement the intersection safety improvements that are warranted that are designed in this project as kind of rapidly deployable interim measures until we could get the construction project off the ground. And so better to have flex posts up today than to have to wait 4 years and have probably more crashes in that area. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and make the first motion, which is that, and maybe I'll be able to just share my screen as well. Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. The first motion is.
Hey, Alex, did you take into consideration what Michael had suggested? A couple little blurbies.
I haven't seen, was that in the chat?
No, well, this was yesterday.
Yes, yeah, I accepted those changes.
Yep.
I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. So the first resolution is that ANC 60 reiterates its strong support for the S Street Northwest Revitalization Project, including support for the 65% design plans. Be it further resolved that ANC 60 recommends that the following design enhancements to improve safety and accessibility of the 65% design. And these are build the direct accessible pathway for pedestrians to access the bus stop on Rhode Island Avenue Northwest at the triangle. Second, to widen the crosswalk and install a second curb ramp across Florida Avenue Northwest between 4th Street Northwest and Rhode Island Avenue Northwest to allow pedestrians to continue from the triangle onto both 4th Street Northwest and Rhode Island Avenue Northwest. Retain the traffic light at the intersection of S Street Northwest and New Jersey Avenue Northwest, because this was discussed at some point, removing that and turning it into a stop sign. And then lastly, to include a raised crosswalk across S Street Northwest at Wilburger Street Northwest.
I'll second that.
Okay, any questions about the motion? Okay. Actually, take that down for a second so I can see everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Kevin votes aye. Still nothing from Denise. Everyone but Denise. Karen, motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, and then I have a second motion. This one's simpler, so I won't share my screen. I would like to motion that ANC 60 requests that the S Street Northwest Revitalization Plan be fully funded in fiscal year 2022 budget, for construction in fiscal year 2022, and that this resolution be communicated to Ward 6 Councilmember Allen, the chair of the Transportation Environment Committee, Mary Che, and other members of the DC Council.
I'll also second that.
Any questions about the motion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, everyone says aye except for Denise. No vote from Denise.
And then the third motion is about the short-term immediate fixes, following along with what's already recommended in the S Street Northwest Revitalization Plan. So I'll move that ANC 6E request that DDOT, and well, just to give a little bit of context, the mayor, I think 2 weeks ago at a press conference announced that she is reallocating $5 million from DDOT's budget to make specific intersection safety improvements throughout the district this summer in a program that she's calling the Vision Zero Summer Safety Campaign. And I figure that because these intersection safety improvements have already been designed in the S Street Northwest Revitalization Plan, and they've also been identified as necessary to improve pedestrian safety and calm traffic, that this, building quick fixes that align with the kind of the construction plans should be a no-brainer for inclusion in the Vision Zero Summer Safety Plan. So I'll make the motion that ANC 6E requests that DDOT use the plans for the S Street Northwest Revitalization Project as a design template and to install rapidly implementable intersection improvements throughout the project corridor. Move that ANC 6E requests that the following intersections and tactical safety improvements be included in the Vision Zero Summer Safety Campaign. And then in the there's a table that follows in the resolution that includes safety improvements at the intersection of S Street and 7th Street, S Street and Wolfberger, S Street and 6th Street, S Street and 5th Street, S Street and New Jersey Avenue, and 6th Street and Rhode Island Avenue. And those improvements at each intersection are flex post curb extensions, high visibility crosswalks, just those two. And then the third, just to separate it out, that ANC 6E requests that as part of the Vision Zero Summer Safety Campaign, DDOT convert the intersection of S Street Northwest and 5th Street Northwest to an all-way stop, consistent with the capital plans for the S Street Northwest Revitalization Project. And finally, that ANC 6E requests that DDOT consult with ANC 6E on the design and implementation of the intersection improvements at these locations.
Any questions about the motion? Alrighty. All in Michael seconds, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, everyone voted aye. No vote from Denise. Great, motion passes. Super.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Now we have now we're in Michael Eichler's area about the speed humps. Oh, no, wait. Now we have to do the New Jersey and O Street. How could I forget New Jersey and O Street? Go ahead, Alex.
Okay, so this is this New Jersey and O Street. It's another high crash intersection bordering the park at New Jersey and O Street, obviously, as well as Dunbar High School. And let me just share. Sorry, I have a rendering of all of the good stuff that okay. Let's see, can folks see that? So this is a rendering. I'm sorry if it's a little bit small and fuzzy, but this is what DDOT proposes installing and has actually begun to install at this intersection. It would include, or does include, closure of the slip lane, which is technically 4th Street here. Installation of, I think these are called high visibility rapid flashing beacons, which is essentially flashy lights that attract the attention of drivers when there's a pedestrian crossing the crosswalk. meant to increase compliance rates for drivers stopping for pedestrians. It would include changes to the to drivers approaching New Jersey Avenue from O Street. They would, under this design, they would only be allowed to make a right-hand turn onto New Jersey, or a right-hand turn onto New Jersey, and would not be allowed to proceed straight through the intersection or take a left from O Street. And there would be a median. They propose creating a kind of a striped median in the center of the street and narrowing the width of the lanes to slow traffic going through that intersection on New Jersey. We did have a community meeting a couple weeks ago to go over these designs. I think that the general sentiment is that we're thankful that something's being done here. I have a little bit of skepticism that DDOT is doing everything they can do not to install a four-way stoplight here. But I'm willing to go along with this to see if it does create improvements for traffic safety. And I think that from what I heard from the neighbors that were out there, they were kind of agreement with that as well. Rochelle, do you have any comments on this project? Danaway?
No, I think at this point, any improvements are welcome. I think they use, as you just mentioned about the stoplight, they're using the excuse that there's not enough traffic on O Street. It's unfortunate, but I think that certainly if there's improvements from what they're going to do, it would be welcome, because it's a disaster.
Is there a lot of accidents taking place crossing from?
All the time, Frank.
I go through that intersection all the time. I've just never seen any accidents.
The woman who lives on this corner house, she can't get her fence fixed because every time she fixes her fence, another car comes through it.
Really?
Yeah. A big source of crashes are kind of side crashes. So the cars coming through the intersection on O and they get hit by somebody coming down New Jersey.
They put that little arrow. The little arrows up.
Yeah, I saw that they put the arrow up. Yeah.
That's.
But they're also going to put. I believe they're going to put some kind of flex posts here in the center of the intersection that will physically prevent drivers from going straight through the intersection.
I didn't realize that intersection was that dangerous. I've just never seen any accidents. Is it more so in the daytime?
All the time.
I think it's at night especially. I guess there's drag racing because this is two long blocks on New Jersey where you don't have any stop signs or stoplights, and so you get going pretty fast.
Okay, I think we have a hand raise here. Any other questions from the commission before we open up to the public about this? Okay, Denise, I see. I'm going to allow you to talk. Okay. Okay, Denise. Go ahead. Denise. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. I just want to make a comment on the intersection of New Jersey Avenue and O Street. I have been living here at Second Northwest Cooperative Homes since November 1979. And I can tell you, I can't begin to count the accidents. And I was just waiting for somebody to get killed before they put a traffic light or something up there. That is a very bad intersection.
Agreed. Yep. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Denise, for that feedback. Any other community comments about the New Jersey and O Street intersection, about the traffic improvements that they're going to be doing? Use the raise your hand feature or press *9. Nope. Okay.
Okay, so Rochelle, I shared a motion or the resolution with you, and kind of how I think we should proceed here is to recommend conditional approval or conditional support for the NOI with two conditions. One, which is more minor but important, that DDOT coordinate the lane width narrowing with the ongoing New Jersey Avenue lane reduction study that's happening, which may ultimately recommend a bike lane for that intersection.
Yep.
And then two, that because DDOT is not installing a traffic signal here, that we should, after 1 year of implementation of these changes, reconvene with DDOT to go over crash data. And if there's no material improvement, we should request a traffic light.
I agree.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'll make the motion that ANC 6E provides conditional support for the NOI, provided that DDOT coordinate the intersection with the New Jersey Avenue lane reduction study, and that after 1 year, DDOT re-engage the commission to discuss warrants for a traffic signal.
Okay, any questions about the motion? Nope. Do we have a second?
Second it.
Okay, Michael Eicher seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Denise, did you unmute yourself? Are you back with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Aye.
yay. Okay, all ayes. Everyone's here. Great. Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Alex. Okay, so now we're going to Michael Eichler's area, speed humps.
Sure thing. I will just note briefly, we wanted to pull this one particular one out because it is it may have a different resolution language than the others. So I just wanted to note that the 1500 block of 10th Street abuts a school. It has a bicycle lane on it, and an elementary school, and the residents along there note that there's oftentimes some cars racing down the road during the PM peak, trying to sort of make the green light that's there at P Street. And they are interested in some speed humps to provide some traffic calming and to ensure traffic safety there in this, residential / collector street that that shouldn't really be having high speeds. I believe the default speed limit should be 20 miles an hour on the street. So so with that, I will move that ANC 6E support the TSA, the traffic safety assessment request, including speed humps for the 1500 block of 10th Street Northwest.
I'll second.
Do we have any community question or comments? Hold on.
Yeah.
Any community comments about these wonderful speed humps coming? Hopefully, press *9 or use the raise your hand feature. No. Okay, who's second? Who was that?
I do.
Alex did. Okay. All in favor for the speed humps?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, everyone says aye.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Sure. So the next item, I will just kind of quickly go over. There's a handful of them, and I believe 4 of them are mine, and one of them is Frank's. But I'll go ahead and just share my screen briefly to show a couple exhibits that I am interested in illustrating here. I think this will do it. So so first off, so this is what 10th Street looks like. By the way, you can see there's the school playground. Actually, there's a playground here now. So that's the one we just voted on. Secondly, the next one is for a traffic safety assessment for the 900 and 1000 blocks of Rhode Island Avenue, which is right this section here. It's particularly dangerous because there is not a lot of demand for street parking along this section due to the schools on both sides. And it's a really long block. And so as you can see, oftentimes there will be no cars queued up, meaning that
are no cars parked, meaning that all 3 traffic lanes are available for through moving traffic, which creates a danger in that they're often speeding and jumping the queue here on this curb lane here at 9th Street. There is also a bike lane that comes in on Q and dumps people on bikes onto Rhode Island Avenue and then pulls them back off again onto Q again. But this sort of section here is not, it's broken, and there are some markings on the sidewalk that indicate that this is where, or sorry, on the street, indicate that that's where the bike should be, and that's right where this dangerous 3-lane sort of low parking demand section is. So so that's one of them, is to look at this section here. Another one is to request to look at traffic calming and other sorts of efforts for the 16 and 1700 blocks of 9th Street, which is also interestingly where the proposed 9th Street protected bicycle lane is intended to go. One of the things that I'll note, you may have seen me, those who are watching the video or the call, you may have seen me pop up and look out my window a few times. I literally just heard and then saw a traffic crash here at the corner of 9th and Rhode Island Avenue, like right outside my window while we're on this meeting. So this request came from a resident who lives at French and 9th and is really interested in seeing some traffic calming along the 9th Street corridor. He sees caravans of children going to preschool and sees that mixed with cars screaming up and down the road, and just sees them as being an accident waiting to happen. The last one, well, so the next one is for the 1100 block or the corner of 11th and Rhode Island, where there was a crash in front of the Roasted Boon coffee shop, the new coffee shop there, a crash on February 1st of 2021 resulted in a traffic parking regulation sign being snapped off and the bicycle rack being bent as the car kind of slammed up against the curb. Thankfully, it was after hours and it was a cold, frigid winter day, so no one was at the Roasted Boon's outdoor patio during that time. But if it happened in the winter, it can happen in the spring or summer as well. Just we wanted to get some eyes on the corner at the intersection of 11th and Rhode Island to look for opportunities to prevent physical infrastructure from being broken, as well as bodies that may result from crashes. One interesting thing to note is that despite my request, I still haven't been able to get this traffic parking regulation sign replaced. So as we know, now we're on June 1st, which is that 5 months later, 4 months later. I can't do the math in my head. And now we've just on June 1st today, we now have parking regulations being enforced again after COVID being over. And if the sign isn't there, then people don't know what to do or how to park properly. And then finally, there's another request that came from my town hall meeting for specifically for the intersection of S and 9th for a traffic safety assessment. You can see there's a variety of curb cuts here that may have cars pulling in and out. One of the residents had noted that a car had crashed into this house here, or into the yard and fence of this house here on the corner of 9th and S, and that there's constant red light running and failure to yield to pedestrians at the crosswalk. So that is my sort of bumper crop of TSAs that are all combined into one. Frank, did you want to add any comments about the one that you are also planning to bring forward?
Yes, I'm going to be supporting a traffic assessment study for 9th and O. There seems to be a great deal of drag racing going down 9th Street. One of my constituents voiced great concern for that area. There was an accident in that 9th and O corridor, I think a couple of weeks ago. Car was turned on its side. Just people just moving too fast. I'm supporting a traffic safety study for that 9th and O corridor.
Great. Okay. So with that, Rochelle, we'll turn it back to you to conduct the attendees, and then I'll make the motion after we've had a chance for comment.
Okay, so any other comments from the commissioners about any of these, the multitude of these? Or any comments from the audience? Press *9 if you're on the phone, or use the raise your hand feature. These are for support for these traffic safety assessments for key areas in our intersections in our area? Star 9 or raise your hand. Nope. Okay.
Okay, so hearing no additional comments, I will move that 6E support the following traffic safety assessment requests. 901,000 blocks of Rhode Island Avenue, 16 and 1700 blocks of 9th Street, intersection of 11th and Rhode Island Northwest, Northwest, 9th and S Streets Northwest, 9th Street and O, and 9th and P. Again, all of the addresses are Northwest.
Okay, you have a question about the motion?
Second.
Frank seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, everyone, hooray. Okay, great, motion passes. Thank you. Oh, we're all done with transportation. Okay. We are.
Oh, wait, what about Frank's motion?
It was included.
Michael included it.
What's included? Okay.
Yeah, I included that in
Oh, okay.
the bumper
Sorry,
crop of.
didn't hear that.
Yep.
All right, and now we're going to have a brief presentation from the Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking. And I'm going to move Mr. Abdullah over here. Hi. Mr. Abdullah, you're on. Are you still with us? Are you still with us? Can you hear me? Mr. Abdullah? Oh, there you are.
I'm still here. I was acting like I was sleeping.
Well, we're glad you're still here, so you can go ahead and do your presentation.
Okay, and it is going to be brief because I'm a former ASC commissioner from 4B.
Oh.
So, you know, I feel your pain. I mean, you all have done a fantastic job of working through all of the different issues. So I'm going to keep this presentation brief. I'm going to hit the share screen and see if I'm going to get lucky and see if the technology chooses to serve me well. Then I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to okay, everyone should be able to see protecting your financial interests, COVID-19 scams, avoiding coronavirus fraud. Can everyone see the presentation and hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. I'm going to kind of just touch on the, you know, the promotional stuff and get to the core of the presentation. Of course, my name is Idris Abdullah. I'm the consumer protection advocate with the district's Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking. We are the city's primary financial services regulator. We regulate, you know, everything from insurance companies to mortgage lenders, some of those non-bank ATMs you see in your corner stores, broker dealers and investment advisors, et cetera. One of our primary objectives, however, is that we want to create an environment where consumers can conduct their financial services business in a safe, fair, and equitable environment. And as we all know, that has not always been the case, not just in the District of Columbia, but across the country. So we're really into trying to protect the rights and interests of our district residents. Some of the services we provide are consumer information, consumer protection, which is part of this presentation, small business and economic development resources, financial literacy and education, and consumer services. The Consumer Services Division is the area the consumer complaints are directed to. With COVID-19 related financial scams, One of the things that we noted at the onset of the pandemic was there was a different types of financial fraud, exploitation, scams that were evolving around the pandemic. One of which was the sale of medical supplies and medications that supposedly prevent or cure COVID-19. The real goal, oftentimes, the seller wants to secure your credit card and personal information. Goods are never delivered or proved to be ineffective. The whole idea is, again, to separate you from your identity and separate you from your hard-earned cash. We want consumers to be wary of our offers for vaccines, cures, test kits, these home air filter systems that are supposedly designed to protect you from COVID. If you receive a call, email, or text to that effect, more likely than not, it's a scam. Now, particularly as it relates to some of these home air filter systems, we have folks out here, claiming that you can, for a few $100s or what have you, they can send you a home air filter system that's guaranteed to protect you and your family from COVID-19 in the home. And quite frankly, these tend to be scams. We've also uncovered fraudulent investment scams. We all know major companies around the country were awarded contracts to develop vaccines and related products and supplies. But then the scam artists kind of chimed in and said, by the way, my company is providing this particular product or service that's going to create a guaranteed can't lose investment opportunity. First and foremost, when we're talking about securities, stocks, and what have you, there's no such thing as a guarantee and a can't lose investment opportunity. All investments have a degree of risk. And when folks try to convince you from the very beginning that it's a can't lose proposition, that should be a reason for you to basically have your guard up. The economic impact payments, the government, sent out relief checks, and scammers basically positioned themselves to take advantage of that situation. Please do not give anyone your personal information to sign up for relief funds. Try not to respond to calls, texts, or emails about money from the government. You do not have to sign up to receive an economic impact payment / stimulus check. So it's not like there's this universal register that you have to sign up for to receive a stimulus payment. Any questions so far? Okay. Charitable contribution requests. Folks used to say that charity begins at home, and they're absolutely right. We want you to be careful of any organization contacting you with requests for donations. If indeed you want to be supportive of a group that's making an impact dealing with the pandemic, visit their website or telephone the charity of your choice. The key is that consumers need to make the initial contact as opposed to responding to these phone calls that we receive nonstop during the day. Now, I knew that the phone calls were bad, but I didn't realize how bad until we started working from home. And it's almost nonstop. Someone's calling you about something, either trying to get you to contribute to something, trying to sell you something, or trying to threaten you that they basically they got marshals on the way to the house to lock you up. The key is, if you want to make a contribution to a charitable organization, be in control of that transaction and contact those organizations yourself. This person in need scam. Scammers will use the coronavirus to pose to be a relative or friend who's sick been admitted to the hospital and they need some funds to begin treatment. They're actually posing to be representatives of local healthcare institutions. We're suggesting that if you get a phone call about some nephew or niece or grandchild that's supposedly rushed to the hospital with symptoms of coronavirus, basically reach out and contact that relative. And if you can't reach them directly, contact a different relative or friend to check the caller's story. It's amazing how much imagination it goes into some of these scams, but yeah, I mean, they're on it. Social Security benefit scams, you know, while local Social Security Administration offices may be closed due to COVID-19, Social Security Administration will not suspend or decrease your Social Security income payments due to the pandemic. Any communication that says otherwise is a scam. They will contact you, or the other slant to it, they'll contact you and say that they've detected illegal activity on your account and that your Social Security payment is going to be suspended unless you contact this particular number or what have you. For a lot of people, that's terrifying because we know that Social Security still to this day makes up a significant portion of retirees' income. Contact tracer scams. Be wary of text and phone calls supposedly from contact tracers suggesting you've been exposed to someone with COVID-19. You know, they will actually contact you, tell you you've been exposed, and that they need your personal information, personal data, in order to begin the contact tracing process. And the whole idea is to get access to your personal information. While some of us do have significant amounts of money in our different accounts or investment products, oftentimes our identity is worth more than the cash. Because with good credit and your identity, they can basically go out and create all kinds of loans and purchase items using your identity. Banks and lenders are being impersonated by scam artists, supposedly offering you help with your bills, credit card debt, student loans you may have co-signed for, etc. They're also reaching out to small businesses, supposedly with promises of disaster-related loans or grants. Again, the goal is to get your personal information, steal your identity, and your hard-earned cash. Now, with all that being said, during this pandemic, creditors, mortgage lenders, student loan providers have been very, very flexible in terms of dealing with consumers. If indeed you're having trouble or know of anyone who's having challenges dealing with credit card debts, mortgage payments, student loans, or what have you, have them contact their creditors directly and see what specific resources are available. And there are significant resources available from the different creditors during this particular environment. Everybody's ordering of products and goods, you know, escalated during COVID-19, and a company, a scam evolved, where basically you'll get emails, you get texts, you'll get phone calls stating that there's a package waiting to be delivered, and that in order to get that package, you have to provide some personal information and/or to hit a link on the email or on the text. Be very, very cautious with that, because when you hit those links, it introduces malware that basically pirates your information, that which they can again take that information and use against you. If indeed you have a package that's outstanding, then whoever is the vendor or the delivery service that was identified when you made the purchase, again, contact them directly. The whole idea is that as consumers, we have to make the initial contact as much as possible, as opposed to relying on folks to honestly contact us. That's it. I tried to, synthesize it, do the respectful folks' time. Are there any questions? Michael, you got this look on your face. You got a question for me?
No, I'm always surprised at all the clever ways people can find to take advantage of the vulnerable people who are afraid. So thank you for your hard work.
And again, being home, I'm getting hit with all of this stuff on a regular basis. The Internal Revenue Service is coming to my house to lock me up. Social Security is going to basically suspend payments on my check. Anything you can think of, and they do spend an inordinate amount of time coming up with these different ways to get into your pocket. Another big one that I need to mention because it's so fresh is the sale of these fake COVID-19 vaccination cards. People were so happy to get their vaccinations, they were posting their cards like on Facebook without realizing that personal information is on your vaccination card. And folks will pirate that information. That was one. But now they're actually, they're contacting people offering to sell them fake vaccination cards for individuals who basically chosen not to get the vaccine, and that is a personal choice, but still want access to places and spaces as though they were vaccinated. And so, but the catch is when you go to order your fake vaccination card, then they pump you for personal information and then take that personal information and backdoor and steal your identity.
Okay.
Believe
Any
it or
other
not-
questions from the commissioners or any questions from the community? Yep. Press *9 if you're on the phone, or use the raise your hand feature if you have a question for Mr. Abdullah, who had a wonderful presentation. Any questions? No? Okay, thank you. We appreciate it.
All righty, thank you all for the invitation, and you all have a good evening. I'm actually going to shut down for the evening.
Okay. All right, I'll see ya. I'll see ya.
All
Bye.
righty. And Mr. Wiggins, good seeing you again. You don't remember me, but I remember you. Good seeing you.
Likewise, but I can't see you.
Oh, you can't see me.
Actually, I can identify with your presentation though, because we actually received a call from somebody that actually perpetrated to be from Pepco, used their logo and everything, claiming if we didn't pay a Pepco bill, they was coming to send the police. It was really strange, really strange call, but it was all scam. But I reported it to the
All a
police.
scam.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
so I'm done, and that's it. Wait a minute.
Okay. Bye.
All right. I apologize for not having my camera
It's
on.
okay.
I was asleep. Take care. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Lastly, we do actually have Pepco up, and I think that there you are. I'm going to move you over, Trevoris. I think it's you. You had the number. So in all transparency, I work for Pepco. Oh, it's not Trevoris. Hi.
It's actually Jamal.
It's Jamal. All right. So do you have a presentation?
Yes.
Okay, you can share. And this is your updating us about the substation?
Yeah, and I also will have a Peter Edge from Smooth Construction will be.
Peter Edge. Peter, are you there? I'm going to. Marcus, did you promote Peter over? Yep, okay.
Can everyone see the screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Peter available?
I'm here. Thank you. You pulled me in. Thank you.
Yep. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jamal Jordan. I'm a public affairs manager with PEPCO, and we're going to do a presentation on our to ANC 6E on our Capital Grid project. Project overview. As you may know, with Capital Grid is a building a network of systems where we're upgrading 3 of our substations, 1 of them in Maryland, Tacoma substation, and then 2 of them in both DC, Harvard substation and Champlain, as well as where we're here today to talk about our Mount Vernon substation will be a newly constructed newly constructed substation in the Mount Vernon area. And now we're going to go talk about the Mount Vernon substation, and I'll go to Peter.
Good evening, everyone. So we have started on site. I think we spoke last quarter as we were getting ramped up. We have got in place the perimeter protection. We've got some monitoring on site for noise and vibration. We've actually got some security cameras on at night. We've installed rodent control. We have set up our trailers on site, so every day we have a smooth representation on site. We've currently started digging right now. We call it our pre-cut. We've started driving piles from the new foundation, and we'll be doing that for the next several months. We're in our second timeline on the bottom there. We're in the excavation and foundation stage. That'll take us between now to about August, leading into our foundation stage, and we start building basically the basement of the building. Some updates. We have limited, we do have some work out in the streets. We are coordinating that with DDOT, with the Capital Grid work also that's related to the Mount Vernon substation. We do need to add new fire, water, and sanitary to the job, as well as some electrical. We have identified all the workers, and we're sharing it with all of them as they come on board about all the surface parking lots around the site and discouraging any street use parking. We do have the utilities I mentioned before. We do plan to have that occur next summer. We have some brief cut, cap, and make safe work that we're going to do here in upcoming weeks. That's in the sidewalk. We don't plan for significant street impacts for that. We had a CAG meeting, which is basically our steering committee made up of community members. We had one in March. We have another one planned for 2 weeks from now. And then we also have a Mount Vernon substation community specific meeting at the end of June as well, in addition to tonight's. So the bottom here, again, just kind of big picture, foundations will go from the summer through the end of this year. That'll be below grade work. Then we'll start coming up with the new structure, which is structural steel, surrounded by precast concrete. Believe it or not, that building in the background will be installed panels at a time, so it will go up quickly. That'll be a benefit for the community. And we'll be closed in doing a lot of build out from the spaces of the spring through November of 2023. And then we'll be finishing things up and ready for power near the late of December 2023. That's high level. Next slide. This is what you kind of, we last spoke, we were getting ourselves mobilized. So what was the farm where we put our trailer? We're going to do some storage. The little Z shape there in yellow is the access between our site and the church. We're trying to make primarily all of our deliveries off of L Street to come onto our site to take deliveries. Again, trying to minimize traffic and impact to the businesses and homes adjacent to the site, trying to basically stay self-contained as much as possible. Traffic will come and go out of that alley. Right now, what you see in the bottom shot is us, a depiction of us putting in the structural steel in the ground, which will temporarily hold back the the soils while we dig the basement. And so now we are in that phase right now where we have 10 to 20 dump trucks per day making runs to and from their disposal site. Again, we should be driving piles for about 2 weeks, so bear with us. We're approaching halfway done. We did start mid last week. We are trying to get that done as quickly as possible. We understand it is noisy, but it is short-lived for this project. The next slide will then reach towards the bottom. There will be additional trucks going as we dig down. There'll be some deliveries for the wood that hold it. I know you're all very familiar with this construction in the neighborhood for other sites. We'll then start pouring the concrete foundations. There'll be concrete trucks every couple days as we form the walls and the slab. The tower crane, we are currently set up for, I believe, end of October is what we're shooting for the tower crane to go up. And then that's when we'll start really doing most of the work. And then the steel will be over the winter. And again, the precast should be about February, March timeframe next year. So you'll see the building by this time next year. The building will be enclosed. You'll have an idea of kind of the structure. Next slide. Kind of jump again. So this is an overview, plan view of the site. The dashed lines show our perimeter fence. The gray is the building footprint, and very, very central to the site, away from the edges. Trying to stay away from the public while give us enough room to do our work, self-contained, trying to stay off the sidewalks and the curb lanes as much as possible. And we're going to utilize the farm space for storage and trailers, things of the such, and limited parking, as many as we can fit in. And then the farm will be getting restored when we're done. That will be the gravel parking lot will be taken out, and we'll replace that with grass. Next slide. This is the currently approved traffic control plan showing our entrance and exit off of L Street. We're trying to not come in and off of K Street for discussions with DDOT and our awareness of the bike lanes and heavy trafficked road. So we're going to try to use L Street and use right-hand turns off of New Jersey and right-hand turns into the site as much as possible.
And Peter, can you talk about the potential of the street closure between First and L?
Yeah, so that's part of the distribution work. So the Mount Vernon substation is the transmission node on the Capitol grid, but then part of it is actually bolstering up the neighborhood. So transmission in, they got to distribute it out to the other network. So I believe I heard it was starting this summer. There will be some street closures. I don't believe it's going to be complete closure, but some street closure as they come out of the substation property down L Street and up New Jersey to connect to the distribution system. As we get to know more about that design, we'll have an idea of the duration of those closures. But it's a separate project within Pepco, but we'll be working closely with them because that is our delivery locations. So we're going to coordinate our traffic control plans for that to occur and again, minimize interruptions, keep traffic flowing. We've also met with DDOT on site to talk about truck routes. Preliminarily, we're waiting for feedback from the engineering side. We met with the basic field case team. Our idea is to maximize the location to 395 and 50 out of town. So primarily coming from the south, deliveries will come up 395 across East Street to New Jersey, up to L and right into the site, and then again depart out L and get on 50, go down 395 or out 50 towards wherever the delivery locations are. Again, we're trying to dictate this early and often to the trades and to the drivers so they get familiar with it and stay to it and don't go meandering out through the neighborhoods. There is one key that there will be some large deliveries. This last bullet here, some deliveries exiting K Street. there are some large deliveries that will not be able to turn around on site. Primarily the precast panels, they come, those are full height. They're in excess of 40 feet. That would be very hard to turn those tractors around on site. So those we will pull through, but we have coordinated with with DDOT and the bike lane folks. Will have flaggers out there monitoring traffic before they do pull out. They will not pull out unescorted. But otherwise, all the deliveries shall go off of L Street. Okay.
Thank you, Peter. And we've been coordinating with neighborhood projects. Our Capital Grid project team has been in coordination and working with DDOT they're underway on K Street under transportation materials and coordinating with DDOT. But also we've been working with the Toll Brothers with the Sursum Quarter development and connecting with the Toll Brothers to minimize community impacts and coordinate schedules as needed. Now we're going to look at work locations. As you see, we have 600 block of Florida Avenue Northwest, where we have manhole installations the summer of 2021. And then on the 1600 block of New Jersey Avenue Northwest, we have manhole and conduit installation started in January of 2021, which will be wrapping up in July of 2021. And as you can see, a 1300 block of First Street Northwest with manhole and conduit installation of ongoing to the summer of 2021. Also have our Mount Vernon substation to New York Avenue and First Street Northwest, which started the spring of 2020 and will be looking at wrapping up summer of 2021. Our Mount Vernon substation, which we looking at, we start January of 2021 and wrapping up in September of 2023. And our Mount Vernon, the substation to New Jersey Avenue, Massachusetts Avenue Northwest of spring of 2020 and looking at wrapping up summer of 2021 in the area. And when Peter talked earlier about the distribution construction, that work on New Jersey will be coordinating on October, which was started in October of 2021, going into the summer of 2022. And our stakeholder engagement, we are committed to keeping you guys engaged each step of the way, as we have on here, where we have maintaining close relationship with our residents and businesses through all our project phases, receiving input and affected neighbors through community meetings and presentations just like this one, sharing information via our public website, listserv, etc. We have a dedicated phone line, which is 1-833-CAP-GRID 227-4743. We have an online website where it's www.pepco.com/capitalgrid, and an email address, capitalgrid@pepco.com, as well as use hashtag CapGrid on Twitter and Facebook. But we also, for our Capital Grid Mount Vernon substation site, we have a dedicated where we have Ed Medley and or Peter Edge, who you just heard from now, with our dedicated phone line is 202-743-4030, and it's MTV MT Vernon substation at srsmoot.com for the email address, and that's for the Mount Vernon substation site. But we also have, for our Capital Grid transmission line work, dedicated community coordinator, Ms. Shamira Edmonds, and her phone number is 202-643-3148. And our email address is sedmonds, EDMONDS @cwsons.com. And thank you. And that concludes our presentation. If there's any questions.
Any questions from the commissioners?
One quick question, as part of this project, will you be improving the sidewalk on First Street on the west side of the block, adjacent to the substation?
Adjacent to the site, yes.
That'll be brought into DDOT standard sidewalk?
I
conditions?
suspect I'll double check what the current DDOT standard is, but we have work out there, and I'll confirm that for our next meeting. But
Okay,
we are redoing sidewalks.
Great, thanks.
Okay, any other questions, commissioners?
Mhm.
Any questions from the public? Press *9 if you're on the phone, or use the raise your hand feature. This is about the Mount Vernon substation for PEPCO. Questions?
And Commissioner Nigro, can I add one more thing?
Of course, you can add one more thing.
Yeah, also just wanted to read some important dates where we mentioned earlier, we have the Mount Vernon CAG meeting, which is June 17th. And then we have the Mount Vernon Community Meeting, which will be June 23rd, where we have given opportunities for stakeholders to listen to our project in more depth, but also answer any questions that you guys may have. But we also, you may have seen the press release out for our Mount Vernon Connective Community Initiative, which is, we're looking at scheduling a later date time, but it's a no wire alternative as part of our Mount Vernon substation. And we're looking at engaging with the community stakeholders as well as the Department of Environment in partnership with this initiative. Thank you.
Okay, all right. I think there's no more questions for you. So, all right. Thank you for zooming in.
Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.
Okay, thanks. All right, we're almost done, commissioners. Okay, so approval of the minutes. Do you have a motion for approving of the May 4th minutes? Anyone?
I move that ANC 6E approve the May 4th minutes.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Mm.
Aye. Denise?
Aye.
Aye, great. Motion passes, thank you. Now, Frank.
Yes, and due to the lateness of the hour, I would like to combine the payment of expenses into one motion, if that's agreed to.
Real quick, Frank, before you
I
do.
got it. Yeah, I got
it.
it. Yeah.
No objection.
I move that ANC 6E pay Karen Yaley $250 for the maintenance of meeting minutes and website maintenance. Rochelle Nigro $17.79 for Zoom meetings for 1 week in May. $164.29 to Rochelle Nigro for 1 month of Zoom meetings from May to June. $31.96 to Rochelle Nigro for New Jersey and O Park Flyers. $27.51 to Rochelle Nigro for ANC meeting flyers. That's a total of 5 invoices that would need to be paid, provided I can get a second.
Wait, did you get the one that I sent today, or maybe not?
I have 3.
It was.
I have 4 invoices for you.
This was the one for the.
$19.79, $164.29, FedEx Office $31.96, and FedEx Office $27.51. Is there another one?
Was there, what did I send you? It was the one for the meeting tomorrow. Hold on.
I think that's the $164.29, because I got that one. I thought I got that one late.
I sent it today.
I printed out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't want to waste time. Okay. If not, we can catch it next month.
All right. Motion's on the floor.
Second.
Okay, Patrick, second.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
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 That was me that said aye.
Okay, great. All right. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, treasurer's report. I've emailed all the commissioners a copy of the monthly treasurer report. The treasurer report matches the bank statement as well as the checking account Excel spreadsheet managed by myself and the Office of ANC. Beginning balance for this month was $42,852.17. We received our allotment this month also for $44,49.80. The Office of ANC applied several expenses that go back from Wells Fargo to 2018. So those were included in the monthly treasury report. But we do have a balanced statement, a balanced treasury report, and a balanced checking account Excel spreadsheet report. So if you have seen those that I've sent to you via email, I move the ANC approved the treasury report as well as the bank statement for May. Provided I can get a second.
Patrick seconds. All in favor? Aye. Great. All right. Thank you. Good job, Frank.
Thank you.
Gold star. All right. Any community announcements or any announcements from the commissioner? If there's any community announcements, press for the 6 people that have hung on. Press star 9.
You're late.
Raise your hand. That's right. They're hanging on. Any announcements, commissioners? Nope. All right. So our next meeting will be July 6th, and I move that we adjourn this meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
Frank seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thanks,
Aye.
commissioners. This worked out, I thought, pretty well.
Great job.
Yes.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Okay,
night.
bye. Bye-bye. Bye.
Night.